His heroics prompted parties on the streets. Once the celebrations had died down, England started preparing to defend the trophy. And just look at their record between 66 and 70. Only 4 losses in 36 games. But when 70 came around, fate played a mean trick on Hurst. In the quarter-final against the Germans, Hurst scored a legitimate goal in extra time that was disallowed, and England lost. Basically the exact opposite of the 1966 World Cup final. With that, Sir Jeff's pretty short World Cup career came to an end. When you look at his stats, they aren't massively impressive, but when you consider 3 of his 5 goals came on that glorious afternoon at Wembley, it's not a bad trade-off. What you might not know about Sir Jeff, though, is that after retiring, he didn't stay in football. I mean, he tried, oh yes, but he packed in management after 2 years and later worked in insurance because he couldn't afford his mortgage. I mean, can you imagine Harry Kane in insurance nowadays? Yes, Sir Jeff may have only played in 2 World Cups, but crucially, he helped bring one of them home. Jules Rimet, still gleaming.
Good afternoon, everyone in the UK, and good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. We are live on talkSPORT. So, game day for England in their final group match against Panama. After another Reece James injury, just how predictable was England being left short at right back? Meanwhile, Usyk vacates all of his belts. Where does it leave the heavyweight division? Also today, is the Bielsa myth now over? Do FIFA want Iran knocked out? Should there be a limit on World Cup expansions? Millwall versus West Ham. Oh yes, a selling point for the EFL or a concern? And amidst a new USA contract offer, why would Pochettino commit long term? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney, and we're all live in New York on talkSPORT. Hi everybody. Now hang on, Simon. Saturday. Did you agree to this?
I didn't sign up for it, but when I heard a rumour that you were going to be stuck with Adrian Durham, I couldn't allow that for you, mate. I couldn't let that happen.
I had a walk around Central Park with Adrian Durham yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And he was praising you in this show, I have to say.
Oh, really?
Troy Deeney, good morning. Troy, well done. A Saturday morning and Troy is here. Come on.
Wait, I don't know, that sounds very condescending.
Take no notice of that. You should have heard the things that they were saying about you when you weren't responding to text messages yesterday, mate. So don't take any of that.
What else, Deeney?
I want it on record. I took an afternoon off.
Yeah, upstate.
Silly me. I took an afternoon off, went upstate with the family, and yeah, Luke messaged me. He's never messaged me. 4 years I've known this guy, never messaged me. Where were you? Then Joe messaged me. Where were you? Then Joe messaged me.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Made it worse. He messaged me.
No.
I knew there was a problem.
No. Good
So
grief.
I came back straight away. I'm here, as always.
Good to see you, Troy. I was out last night in an area of this wonderful city with the senior NYPD policeman, Vinny Gazel, who got me through the Knicks crowd the other day.
Worst days were ever, didn't it? Can't shift him now, can it?
And helped me not get myself arrested, but helped me to get to the World Trade Center and help me get on air. So I bought Vinny last night a very nice burger in a hamburger joint, Simon. We'll play some of the chat from Vinny maybe on Monday when we're back on air. But here's the thing, Simon. New York, I knew it before, but I certainly know it now, is vast. I decided I can get back to my hotel while you were out having a nice meal last night with the rest of the lads. I thought, I can do this. So I'm on the underground. I end up in an area called Lafayette. I'm thinking, where the heck am I? And then I managed to get myself a cab and get back at some ungodly hour. It is so easy to get lost. Do you know where I am, this Lafayette area?
Yes, I do. Because years and years ago, when I lived down here, I think it was 91, different New York. David Dinkins was the mayor. Giuliano hadn't come in and cleaned up the city. It wasn't a broken windows policy to stop crime. Times Square was a den of iniquity. Every part of New York was falling apart and dirty. And I lived in an apartment building around a corner from Lafayette and Broadway. And one evening I came out at about 8 o'clock in the evening, sashaying around, mincing about, as I often do. And I found myself in this terrible situation of being triangulated by 3 guys that had a devout intention of mugging me.
Oh, wow.
And then you realise it when you know when someone goes in front of you and 2 guys go behind you, know you're banging trouble.
And this was, you were in mid-mince.
Yeah, and so I was in mid-sachet. And I suddenly realised I was really in trouble, and I started to run, and 2 of them shot at me. And one of the bullets went past me and went through the window of the concierge of the building that I was living in. Yeah. So me and guns, we have a strange relationship.
Oh, my God. Okay.
They missed. It was like one of my strikers. They missed.
I was going to say, anyone who had problems with guns, they would have chose me, not you, would they?
I've got to say, Simon, Vinny Geyser was telling me last night about what it's been like being with the NYPD for 40 years, working in this city. You don't want to miss this on Monday. What a guy he is. A lot to get through with you back in the UK this afternoon. With us here this morning in New York, because England in action. They take on Panama tonight. 10 p.m. UK time for you lot back there. Live on talkSPORT. Coverage starts from 8 with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce. Stuart Pearce was excellent in the show yesterday, wasn't he?
He's a hell of a man, isn't he?
What a guy. So it was a busy Friday of World Cup action. With Spain, I got in late last night to see Uruguay-Spain, and the Uruguayans typically losing it at the end of the game. With Spain, Belgium, Egypt and Cape Verde. Cape Verde, Troy, all through to the last 32. Their debut World Cup, Cape Verde, sees them advance to the knockouts, and they will face Argentina.
It's a great story.
Is that where it all stops, though?
Oh, absolutely. But it's a great story, though, isn't it, in terms of what they've done and how they've approached it as well. Again, a lot's been made of the goalkeeper and the social media and his mum and all that stuff. But actually, the football side of it, they've done really well. It highlights to me just how bad Scotland have done. Sorry, Jim. But, you know, they've done well. And they've highlighted that they've got a group together of a small pool, but also what they've done, they've reached out, haven't they? They've gone on their diaspora and gone, all right, who can we get? Who can we pull in? Yeah. And it's done really well. So I'm happy for them. I'm happy to get this moment. And who knows what this will do for the next 20, 30 years of football in Cape Verde. OK. You mentioned Scotland, and thank you for that, Troy. No problem. I thought I'd just bring
here's the thing, Simon. After the Brazil game, they lost it 3-0. Yeah. Scotland's chances of qualifying from the group, at that stage, just under 50%. This morning, their chances of progression have fallen to 0.07%, according to Opta. They would need the following to happen, Simon. I mean, honest to God, talk about out of their hands. They need these three things to happen. Already qualified Ghana to beat Croatia by at least 3 goals. Congo to drop points against Uzbekistan, but not lose by 4. Algeria and Austria to end either in a 2-goal defeat for Algeria or a 4-goal thrashing for Austria. This is not happening.
Oh, no, it's done. I mean, what you'll now have is the bloodletting. And it's starting with Steve Clarke. I mean, I saw Roy Keane turn around and say that apparently Steve Clarke walked into a bar in Boston and they threw him out because it was happy hour. And I thought to myself, oh, blimey, lack of self-awareness, Roy, because you're not exactly a bundle of fun. Look, I mean, we look at it and we... In our mind's eye, we would make a pass for them not beating Morocco and Brazil. The issue is not beating Haiti in the way that people would have thought they could have done, but I don't even think if they had beaten the Haitians 3-0, they would have still perhaps gone through this group.
I know, I think you're right.
It's the manner...
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole cacophony of reasons why people can now have a swipe at the Scots. They can say some of their big players didn't turn up, the negative tactics, they didn't have any bravery about them, the acts of self-harm, the replacement of players that came in and made it worse for them. And then Steve goes and compounds it to some extent by giving people the opportunity to really go at him beyond the team's performance by saying you can't even talk to the media properly.
Yeah.
And so it's a basket of undesirables for Scotland, to be honest, to be quite blunt.
A basket of undesirables. You couldn't be more right, Sam. This is where they've got to, Troy. And it's fairly lamentable, I've got to say. It really is.
Yeah. I think obviously now it comes the inquest, right? Like what are we going to do moving forward? I don't think it's a case of sacking the manager. I think he's done a good job to get you to this point. For me personally, the one big thing that I always see with Scotland is, I know John McGinn can play out on the right, but you can put him in the middle. And when you've got, at this level anyway, when you need the pace and the power, you've got him, you've got Scott McTominay, you've got Ferguson. That's a proper midfield. Just build off of that. And I think so many times I've watched that putting him out on the right, putting him out on the left, and he's not able to impact a game, and they don't have the basis that an Aston Villa does.
They don't have any strikers either.
No, that's a problem.
I thought their strikers were shocking, and they didn't get much service. But look, the other argument that gets played out, and it's not a case of kicking things when they're down. You can't have this argument about small nations, because there's plenty of countries around the world that have got small nations. You've got a population in Scotland of, what, 6 million people? Something of that order.
Yeah.
There are other countries around Europe, like the Danes, I know you knocked them out, but other countries that are as small, that have got a far higher and greater footprint on football. You've just seen it being revisited in the argument that Troy's made about Cape Verde. Of course, we do have to factor in the opposition. And whilst Cape Verde got a decent result against the Spanish, they didn't have to face both Brazil and Morocco, who were two top 10 sides.
Yeah, but Cape Verde, population 530,000.
I know. But he talks about the diaspora of Cape Verde. They are probably hooking people from everywhere they possibly can. That's got
one of them was
went there on holiday once. Is now a Cape Verde player.
Yeah,
I should have got called up.
yeah. I wish you were, mate. You would do a good job at this World Cup. So even Simon Troy, even if it was to be expanded even more, this present World Cup format, would Scotland still have a better chance of qualifying out of the group? And on that topic, the US could consider making a bid to host the men's 2038 World Cup, we're being told out here. FIFA today expanding the format to 64 teams as early as 2030. Now, there's all sorts of chatter about what we got here this time around with 48. 64.
Well, I said this, and I think Martin Samuel wrote an article about it as well. I said this at the very beginning of this tournament. It'll go to 64. You might even find some revolution in there. You might find a Swiss format like they've done with the Champions League to change it and evolve it. And there's something about that I quite like. Look, people can make this is a carnivore sport, and football being the biggest sport in the world, and expanding it and broadening it, I don't think is an offence. If you don't want to watch certain games, don't watch it.
That's right.
You know, if the broadcasters don't want to pick up the broadcasting rights to watch XYZ country against XYZ country, they don't have to.
Yeah, but Simon, there's got to be a limit.
Why?
Surely.
Well, 64 teams in a Swiss league format, it's somewhat similar to the Champions League. Where's the problem?
I suppose the problem I've got is from a player's point of view, right? And again, you're going to look at it from a different point of view, but where's the rest? So even us as media journalists now, we've done Euros, we've done FIFA Club World Cup, we've done the World Cup. Where does the rest come? You can't give them more games because it's an expanded tournament.
What is the problem with taking more players?
That's not a possibility at this moment.
Well, no, under the current guidelines, no. Yeah, but what is the issue? I mean, we have all these ridiculous rules in place in football across the board that solve no problems and create no solutions and create no fairer landscape. So why wouldn't you just allow, in the same way that you could do it in the English football, and have more substitutions? Because once upon a time, the idea of having one substitution was a revolution, Peacock being the first ever substitute, right? Now we go forward, we've got 5. You've now got 3 points rather than 1. Why don't you have bigger squads in domestic football? And why wouldn't you have bigger squads in international football? So you can manage that challenge.
I wonder where you go with this. So, Simon, you've lived here. Troy, you are living here. How acceptable would it be for the USA to host a second World Cup within the space of 12 years? Is that more likely than a World Cup ever heading to the UK?
I think it's a much bigger place. We've only done it in, LA, Dallas, and then out here.
You shared it across 3 countries.
You could actually.
The question is, you've got to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Right.
I tell you for why. A lot of the reasons is that the commerciality has not been. You look at these countries that want these tournaments. They wanted the Olympics in London 2012. They believe it's part of a regeneration and a revitalisation and an opportunity to monetize things, and often they aren't. Now, you have to ask yourself why the Americans are so keen to get it again. They're keen to get it again because clearly it's economically beneficial to them. If you look at the economy statistics that they think they're going to bring into this World Cup and the overall value of this World Cup, beyond the 15 billion that might have gone to FIFA, but the associated industries that are around it are in the tens of billions, from hotels to economy spends to people travelling around the world.
Yeah.
And you wonder why established football nations around Europe wouldn't be able to create the same outcomes. Because we've got the infrastructure. I mean, there's no purer football nation than us or the Germans, or to some extent, well, not to some extent, the Italians, which, by the way, is absolutely absurd that they're not here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you look at these World Cups and think the Italians are not here by the nature of the qualification criteria.
Yeah. I think we missed them.
That's what it needs to be looked at.
We missed Italy at a major tournament finals. A lot to get through in the next, 2 and 3/4 hours. Lovely day here in New York, it looks like. I know it's been sweltering back home and you're still enduring it. We wish you well with all of that. On the football front, England take on Panama tonight, 10 o'clock your time back in the UK. It's live on talkSPORT. So we'll have a look at that one as England go into their third game, of course, following the win over Croatia and the draw with Ghana. A lot to get through, as I say. Just a reminder, we're live on YouTube. You can see us here in this incredible studio on a Saturday morning, I hasten to add, here in New York City, Saturday afternoon with you back in the UK. And we're live in talkSPORT, Jim, Simon and Troy. And we're live in talkSPORT on a Saturday. How lovely.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico Riley. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something could go on and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico will get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. You know, he can dribble like a midfielder. You know, he's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? Are you excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Time now for a big match build-up with Village Hotels. England take on Panama this evening. Now, back in the UK, that's 10 o'clock for you. It's a bit late, but well worth a watch, of course, well worth a listen, because it's live on talkSPORT. And our coverage starts at 8, 2 hours before kick-off. Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, who was with us yesterday, proves to be a very, very popular guest on this show. So too, Troy Deeney. who's in with Simon and myself on this Saturday afternoon, with you back home Saturday morning with us. England, of course, through to the last 32. And if England win their group and Congo qualify as one of the best third-place sides, they will meet in the last 32. But as it stands, England would play Senegal. Troy, would you foresee maybe a bump in the road in any way?
No, I think we beat both teams, but both teams will create different problems. So DR Congo will sit back in and be really resolute, which we've just shown we struggle with anyway. But the difference is they have loads of pace and power with the likes of Visser up top. They've got goals. So that's a bit of a worry. Senegal I like more because they're going to come at us. With the front three that they've got, though, they can cause trouble. Ismail Assar, obviously a teammate of mine, and obviously at Palace, having an unbelievable World Cup, and God knows how much his value's got up based on what we saw with Elliot Anderson. He might be 200 million now. But they're at the back line is very ropey, and they give you chances. So I would prefer us to get Senegal in a way that it's more. They're going to come at us, and that's what England want. They want a team that is not scared, comes at them, and then we can take them on. So
whether it's the Congo, Simon, whether it's Senegal, you think, no, that's all right as far as England are concerned?
Well, it is what it is. I mean, you're out of the qualifying stages. You're going to play a side of some repute because you've weeded out the chaff. Well, you know about that. And you're now amongst a different selection of teams. But either one of these teams, you would suggest England should beat. Mm-hmm. So despite the fact they might pose their own individual challenges, that's the job. England are more than capable of beating both of these sides. They're far better players. You know, I would suggest they've got far better management and far better structures than these teams. And, you know, and so with that in mind, England get on with the job, whether it's Congo and the fact they might be more resolute and bank up, or whether it's the Senegalese because they're braver and bolder. Either one of them, move the ball faster against Congo and take advantage of the space against Senegal.
Yeah. Let's talk about personnel, Troy, because this is interesting. Reece James over here awaits the results of a scan on a hamstring injury. There are concerns that his World Cup could well be over, as far as we understand here at talkSPORT. No Trent Alexander-Arnold. England, of course, also lost Tino Livramento. But on the personnel front, Tuchel is quite relaxed about the whole thing and relaxed about any injury to Reece James.
Reece has minor hamstring injury. Was not able to train the last 2 days. He is now in a accelerated rehabilitation program, and we take it game by game, but we strongly believe that he will be available for us in the tournament. The thinking, we called Trevor Chalobah to free up Joel Kwanzaa on the right fullback position for us. I saw him very strong there playing for Liverpool, and he played in a back three, which is not so far away from the position in Leverkusen. And we have Chad Spence. No one could see that coming. Reece was in good shape and felt very good. So it's a bit unlucky, but Ezri Konsa played on the position as well for us on a high level. We're still no problem. We would love to have Reece. He's a key player. We would love to have him available. He's not available. We will find solutions. That's what we do. It's a short period of time. It's a tournament. We will find solutions.
So that was Tuchel. So Troy, Reece James, doubtful. Trent Alexander-Arnold, not here. Livramento, gone home. Was this almost a predictable situation?
Well, this is my biggest gripe with the squad selection at the start, is going with two fullbacks. Unfortunately, while they are very, very good, their history shows you they break down a lot in Livramento and in James. Look, I think you need to put Trent Alexander-Arnold to one side. He's never bringing him. He's just not his player. Put it to bed, leave it alone. But when we're now saying that Jed Spence, who was our left-back option, is now going to be the right-back option, I really struggle to put my mind's eye and say, why have we not got Lewis Hall there? Because very, very quickly now we're going into either a back four with a left back in Nico O'Reilly, who's actually a midfielder, a centre half at right back, And now it just gets disjointed, and then we're trying to build up. And one of the big problems we had in the Ghana game, Simon, was that we couldn't move the ball right. You have to do that from the back. It starts from the back. And I just wonder whether the Trevor Chalobah one is the way I don't understand it. You call up a Lewis Hall there, you call up somebody who's actually a fullback, it gives you a different option. But, as he said, no excuses. It's a short turnaround. Reece has been relatively fit this year. But I do worry. I do worry that not having a proper right back there does struggle. And if we do go to Jed Spence, we do go to Jed Spence. I love Jed going forward. Can't stand him defensively. I think he switches off.
Simon, back in the UK, our old chum Graham Souness has concerns. In his Telegraph column. I mean, basically, what we're going to see, will we get a free-flowing Croatia performance or a Ghana-style low-block struggle? Souness and Troy coming in this.
Yeah.
Souness says in his column, Thomas Tuchel has fallen into the same trap as Gareth Southgate by playing two holding midfielders. Against Ghana, not once did I see Anderson or Rice really wrap a pass forward for Harry Kane through the lines with intent. It was boring and predictable, and the game was screaming out for someone to be in the half turn and cause mischief. What's your take on that? He's spot on, isn't he?
We've had the pleasure of working with Graham 2 years ago in the Euros, and I think I smiled, I think Simon smiled. He was saying the same thing 2 years ago. It's exactly the same. And everything that Graham Souness says about a midfielder, you start to look and you listen, because obviously he's a fantastic player and a great guy as well. I understand everything he's saying. My frustration watching it is who is the guy that's going to dictate? We've got £240 million worth of midfielder there, arguably two of the best in the world if you put it on price tag, and we don't control the game. They don't want the ball. They're better when they go and press and they go and tackle. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but at some point you have to have somebody that goes, give me the ball. This is probably the argument. Why is Adam Wharton not there?
Well, I spoke to Graham, so I knew what he was writing. And it's interesting that Graham uses the terminology playing through the lines, because he vilifies that terminology normally. He normally turns around and says it's a forward ball, and it's the new technology of playing through the lines. Where does that come from? It's a lot of old cobblers. It's people making busy with words. So it's interesting he's used it in his own article.
I agree.
Maybe the person that wrote it for him did. But what he's talking about is...
I love it if he's listening. He probably is.
What he's talking about is someone that can fizz in clever balls. Someone and he's got this big thing about Declan Rice. And Graham will find himself, because it's almost like the NHS, you can't criticise it. Declan Rice falls into that category, especially if you've got Arsenal fans around you. You can't say anything about Declan Rice. And this idea that Declan Rice is a world-class footballer, which we don't dispute about certain aspects of his game and charging up the field and being very capable of bringing the team forward, but where's the clever ball? Where's the ball? And talking to Stuart, he's got it. He's got the ability to do it, whether he's got the vision or whether he's allowed to do it. But when you look at our midfield, the creativity is what Graham is talking about. When you've got people... I mean, first of all, you've got to move the ball quickly. And when you move the ball quickly, we saw what we did against the Ghana team. Yeah. Moved it quickly. I know they're going to say Rashford came on, but it wasn't just about Rashford coming on. They moved the ball quickly. They moved it from side to side, got people shifting back and forward. John Terry was talking about it the other day. You shift people around. People are very comfortable in life and in football if they're able to stay in the position they want to be in.
Right.
If you move them around, you take them out of their comfort zone. We only did that in the last 15 minutes, and it's no surprise then we created chances and should have actually scored, and Harry Kane would have put it away, and the job would have been done, and people would be talking about something differently.
See, as soon as Simon almost speaks in almost ominous terms, Troy, he says, if you, England, come up against France, Spain, Argentina and Portugal, there are lots of good sides looking in this tournament, such as Morocco, Norway, Japan, who would damage England if England play so passively.
Yeah, but a big key part.
Morocco, Norway, Japan.
Well, Morocco finished fourth in the last World Cup. They're no mugs.
So he's got a point.
No, he does, but the word passively is the key part. It's if we play bad, they look good. That's basically what it's saying. So if we play good, we beat them. See, very simple. See, the maths is very good.
I don't know whether passive, and again, picking up on Graham and his use of terminologies, and of course, if he were here, he'd be telling us all to shut up because no one's kicked a ball, besides him, of course.
but not to the level.
And that's debatable. Passively, I think it's lack of inspiration. It's not about passiveness. They've got the ball, they're on the ball, but they're going sideways and back, sideways and back, sideways. That's not passive. That's ball retention for the retention's sake. What you need is people that are going to be inspired and take the risk. Now, I suppose you could suggest that that's passive, but I look at it and go, if you haven't got these ideas of paying £120 million, I mean, look, Man City are very wise in what they buy.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that.
You look at the £120 million price tags, and you've got to ignore price tags. That's the economies of sport. You've got to look at what the footballer can do. And we, don't have, at this seemingly this moment in time, you want to see Eze get on the ball. I mean, Eze came on against Ghana, was easily knocked off the ball, was too lightweight, got bullied. They've got to deal with that. You know, got to deal with that. We play supposedly in the most physically competitive league, yet we got bullied by the Ghana team. So they've got to get on that situation.
Right.
But I think, actually, the analogy that Graham is creating against the better teams, I think will be much better against the better teams.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think that we will hurt the better teams as much as they hurt us.
Well,
and it's a game of who hurts one another most, I think.
Right.
I also think just to that point is we're probably one of the better teams without the ball. So I think when a France is moving it, we go, OK, we set up. That's where the Declan Rice can run over. That's when Elliot.
Well, the better teams with respect to Congo and Senegal, the two likely opponents for England next. The better teams wait in the wings, so we'll see what happens in the nearer future. You can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/competitions.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
He's got to take the skipper off if he does.
So that was John Terry sitting exactly where Sam is this morning. This clamour for Rashford, you've got a view in that, haven't you?
Well, I just don't remember the last time Rashford started the game for England was particularly impactful. It's always the way, whatever you haven't got is what you cry out for when you don't get the outcomes that you want. The main thrust of England's game was they didn't fizz the ball around. If you move the ball quickly, you move people around. And it was interesting that they put Saka on, which I think makes a lot of difference when he comes on because he's a clever player, he creates outcomes. And the numbers that he throws out on the field are quite staggering when he's actually on the field. And then he shifted Madueke dug outside so that the coach could be in his ear driving him forward. I think the other thing, I think Rashford comes on as an impact player. If you're playing the last 20 minutes of a game and Rashford comes on with a wild hair up his backside because he hasn't been in the side, he's been replaced by Anthony Gordon at Barcelona and England and wants to play, which is the Rashford that we've got now. Tragically, for a boy of his talent, he's a consequence player. Every time he does something that gets him consequence, he responds to it. He doesn't play well for a season. The England team need him to be...
This might be the most iconic image in English sporting history, the moment Bobby Moore lifted the World Cup. It meant the flag of St George could forever be draped on the Jules Rimet, and Moore would be a hero always, despite the twists and turns of his eventful World Cup career. Bobby Moore went to the World Cup in 1962, but didn't play a single game. A year later, though, he was made England captain, leading the side as they built up to 66. But Moore might never have played in the tournament. He was in a contract dispute with West Ham and was technically a free agent. And an FA rule meant free agents were ineligible to play for England. Sir Alf Ramsey stepped in and forced West Ham and Moore to sign a deal. Phew. Then, when the final came around, Moore might not have played in that either. According to Sir Geoff Hurst's autobiography, he overheard Sir Alf discussing the idea of dropping Moore in favour of Norman Hunter to help deal with the German attack. But he stuck with Moore and didn't live to regret it. 4 years later, Moore was shrouded in controversy. On a pre-tournament team trip to Colombia, he was arrested, accused of stealing a bracelet from a gift shop, and placed under house arrest for 4 days. Perhaps the most famous match of that tournament was England's group game against Brazil. in which he made what's still described as the perfect tackle. It's so beautiful. After the game, another iconic image. The quarter-final defeat to West Germany would be his last World Cup match. England failed to qualify in '74 and Moore stepped away, leaving the most
And it's a Saturday morning in New York, Saturday afternoon with you back in the UK, 1:30 at home. We're building up to England tonight, live on talkSPORT. And if you're in the Midlands, there's no better place to watch it than the talkSPORT fan zone at the SI Warehouse, Villa Park.
No, there is.
You
There's
know what,
loads
Troy?
of places better to go than that, yeah. You got nothing better to do, go down to Villa Park.
There you go. Hosted by Villa legend and our very own Gabby Bonlaho.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Last tickets are on sale now at talksport.com.
Don't ask any questions because Gabby's not programmed for them.
Last tickets on sale now. We're down to our last 10,000. Or you can buy at the box office tonight. Plus, you can secure your ticket to England's round of 32 match with early bird tickets available. Once again, that's talksport.com/fan zone. You see, they're taking their life in their hands by asking us to go with something like that.
At Villa Park?
Yeah. At Villa Park. Come back. And Gabby at the front and centre of it. Yeah. And Troy Deeney's in studio here, one of the most popular blues footballers.
He should be happy that I've left. Give him more space to get on the shows now.
There you go. We were talking about key players for England as we bowled up to the previous break there. And what we do now know is that, yes, Manchester City have got a hold of this fella, Elliot Anderson. He's going to be joining them from Nottingham Forest. £116 million. In the US, they're calling it a $153 million deal. So they've been all over it out here because it's headline news at home and it's to a degree headline news over here as well. But Troy, Elliot Anderson, and he's hoping to have a big, big World Cup. He's hoping to take England to a final, play in that final and win it. What impact could that have on him psychologically? Will it heighten his belief or will it increase the scrutiny on him?
Well, if this doesn't heighten your belief, nothing will. You are the world's most expensive, or the British record now. A massive team wants you. They're doing a rebuild around you, so that gives you all the confidence in the world. Well, I think when you put the price tag to one side, he's had a good year. I do worry at what we put these like. What are we saying that he offers the team? Maybe it's my old bias of like 5 years ago when we were playing back. Heads it, kicks it, tackles. Doesn't really score a great deal. Doesn't really assist a great deal. Is that the new marker of what a centre midfielder is?
So do you not think there's anything really special, if you like?
I think he's very good at everything, which is also a trait within itself. But I don't think for that level of money, I want someone that completely changes my team, completely changes the way we play, the way we are. And also another little nugget on the side of it. If they're spending this much, is Rodri on the way out then?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think that's the inevitability. But the money's the money. I mean, we can all go, once upon a time, God rest his soul, Trevor Francis was the first £1 million footballer. And the world went mad. And you saw Steve Daly being bought, didn't you, from Man City to Wolves or whatever it was.
Daly, Simon, well remembered.
And you look at the escalation of transfer fees. It is what it is. But it would appear that this role is a cornerstone of a lot of managers' thinking. You know, you built N'Golo Kante, the Chelsea sides were built off the back of him. Before that, Claude Makelele.
Yes.
You look at other sides. So the managers see this as a pivotal opportunity to be able to set up the team in a certain way. And that's perhaps why these managers look at these players as cornerstones. And we look at it and go, well, OK, they're great in certain respects, but they're not setting the world on fire. No one's watching... No one sits down with a bag of popcorn saying, can I watch Elliot Anderson? You know, because that's not the sort of play. You watch a flying machine going down the wing or a centre-forward scoring goals, or someone pinging 60-yard diagonals and you think that's wonderful to watch. Elliot Anderson is none of those. But what he is clearly an anchor, or a player of that ilk is an anchor for every other aspect of the structure of the team to pivot off. Whether it's a central defensive unit can rely on the fact that he gives them cover, or whether it's the attacking format is based and anchored in the platform that sort of role builds. And you've got to look at the conventional thinking behind it, because the orthodoxy seems to have been established by elite managers. Now, I don't know when you go back into the 70s and 60s and 50s and 80s and 90s, whenever football seemed to have this era where everything was pre the way that we play now. I mean, if Graham were here, he'd say absolutely not. When we were Liverpool, we zipped the ball around, we did the same thing, we pressed high, we did all this sort of stuff that Barcelona do. It's just the modern day terminologies, and people forget what was done in the past. But I don't look at price tags anymore. I think the world's gone mad. It has gone mad. And the Americans won't look at it because their system is different anyway. They draft players. They'll pay it in their salaries. When we sit here and hear that XYZ baseball players getting a $700 million contract, they'll find it a different way. So the scale of sport and the economics around it are what they are. And now, for him as a player, again, I have to say, I don't want to be, because he's not here, and maybe he's in this morning, I can't believe what Alex Crook told us yesterday. I cannot believe that Newcastle do not have a sell-on.
He's going to be coming in.
It defies conventional wisdom. If they don't have a sell-on, there's something paradoxically wrong with every aspect.
You almost fell off your seat yesterday when you heard that.
It's incomprehensible. A young player goes out of a football club.
Who you didn't want to
leave, and you would have no commercial nous. To put at least a 10%, 15% sell-on for a player.
Well, Alex is coming in shortly. We will put that to him. Uruguay, Troy, always a tough old nation at any World Cup finals. If memory serves me right, Uruguay beat England in the previous finals, didn't it, with Suarez playing for them. Many years ago, I think Sir Geoff Hurst scored the winner against Uruguay in 1970. But they're out. They've gone at the group stages again. And we're getting quite a lot of messages from Leeds fans. Don't have a go at Marcelo Bielsa. We love the guy. Nonetheless, Uruguay exited the World Cup at the group stage. They were defeated last night. One goal, certainly, but they ended up with 10 men against Spain. Bielsa, after the game, what do I leave for Uruguayan soccer? Nothing. Because any contribution that a coach might make to soccer in a country after 3 years of work never truly takes hold if results aren't achieved. I just wonder, this Bielsa situation, is the Bielsa myth coming to an end?
I watched Joe Cole speak about this about 3 weeks ago, and he said to him it's a big myth. He's a bit of a, didn't use the word fraud, but he said all I see him do is sit on a box and every day. I think what I saw at Leeds was really good in terms of the high press and all of those fun things. But if you saw the second half of that season, they got found out because he's very one-dimensional. It's very much, we're going to run and we're going to run hard all the time. I just think over the last 3 to 5 years, been found out's the wrong word, Simon, but been more, everyone goes, okay, I know what you're going to do. You know what you're going to get from his team, which in some respects is great. But also, if you're just running straight all the time, okay, let's play into midfield out the other side. Now what are you going to do? And very simply, it's so easy to break down now.
Oh, I think he's a thinker. I mean, we've had different generations of people at times. Once upon a time in the 1970s, we had a person in this country called Charles Hughes, who wrote books about football and how English football should be played, and our game went down the toilet for years because all we wanted was big, strong boys that ran about and didn't have any technical ability, and we changed over the years. Bielsa has... This sort of observation, to me, is camouflage for not doing a particularly good job. If you are taking on an international manager's job, then your job is to affect outcomes. And if you know that affecting outcomes means you have to get results on the field to be able to leave a legacy, then get results on the field. Don't turn around and say that the fact you didn't get results means that the legacy you're leaving has no value. You know the job. This is the nature of the beast.
He also made a massive call leaving Luis Suarez out. And now you can't score any goals.
I mean, have you seen him? I mean, he can barely get around the field these days, Suarez.
But there's a guy in Nunes who can run around like a fly, but can't kick the ball in the back of the net.
Darwin Nunes.
So, which one do you want?
Troy, you ever been in a dressing room and at half-time a player says, I want you to sub me. I'm not going to carry on. Maybe?
Not in those words, but yeah, you see a few people chuck it in.
Well, the goalkeeper had a nightmare moment with Spain's goal. Fernando Muslera. Bielsa says, and he hooked Muslera early on in the game. At half-time, in fact. So Spain were 1 up and Muslera was hooked. Bielsa said post-match, Muslera decided to come off at half-time. Decided to come off at half-time. The decision I took was not to undermine Muslera's confidence, but rather to maintain it.
I think the other part to that as well, he's 40 years old, by the way. Came out of retirement, if I remember, to help out. So there's a big element around that. If he was 18, 19, young, I understand everything that Biel said. He's 40, it's his last World Cup. You've came out of retirement to help the team, and you're the first one to quit on the team. His legacy's gone in that.
The only thing I would say in defence of that observation is that goalkeepers are a very unique position, and their mind and their focus and their concentration and their psychological profile is a key part of it. And if they feel that something's gone on mentally that they're not able to cope with, now I'm not saying it's good, bad or indifferent. And the orthodoxy of thinking about what happens with goalkeepers, we saw people turn around and be absolutely being outraged by what Igor Tudor did to the goalkeeper at Spurs. It's ruined his career. He's ended. Poor kid's never going to play again.
Kinski,
Kind of old cobblers. What he did was he got a bit more resilience, came back and proved his point under a different manager. And so there's no right and wrongs. And maybe sometimes if you just can't cope with a situation and whatever's gone on in your mind, is it defeatist, is it weak, or is it the right thing to do to stand back and go, whatever, and I'm always one for overcoming adversity. I'm always one for trying to push through and have the resilience. But being a goalkeeper and being in that particular space requires a different skill set. And that's why goalkeepers are often defined as crazy or different animals, or, you know, a certain breed of person becomes a goalkeeper. So you wonder if that, in some way, is a part explanation and a half of a pass. Someone making that decision in a unique environment like a World Cup.
Oh, let me spin it on to you then. You're the owner of a club or federation, and your player quits.
I had it. I had it with Alexander Kalinko when he had an altercation with Trevor Francis, and Trevor punched him on the bench once, and we had all kinds of murders and the police got involved, and then we settled it down. And before the game against Leicester away, I'm about to get a helicopter up to Leicester. I'm walking out of the car park at the Grove, and I get a phone call from the goalkeeper going, "I no play." What do you mean I'm not playing? I'm not playing. I'm not playing for this man. What do you mean you're not playing for this man? Get in the dressing room. I'm not playing for this man. You know, so we had to put an outfield player in goal.
And what was the outcome?
Wow. He didn't play.
He didn't play.
And the PFA came in and did their usual bit of how I should pay him up, and, you know, and pay his agent 100 grand and all that sort of lovely stuff.
So what did you end up doing?
I told his agent to go forth and multiply, and I sold the player.
There you go. Puro Muslera then came off at half-time last night, apparently at his own request. And Uruguay are heading back to Montevideo and various parts of the globe where these players reside. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. It's a Saturday morning here in New York City. The sun's coming up. It's going to be a nice one here. Talk boxing later on. Someone called Spencer Oliver is going to be joining us from back in the UK, because there's a very big night, a big fight tonight in this part of the world. Boots Ennis is going to be fighting, and that one is very eagerly awaited here, especially by the fans of the guy he's fighting, Xander Zayas. It's a big one. It's a big show today. We're enjoying it. We're live in talkSPORT.
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
he's a better striker, number 9.
Do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. Like, so I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's scored 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched it, you would have watched him, R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9, for me, that's my hero. You know, he is... That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him, and Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent, and Ronaldo
it's all about numbers and goal scoring. And he's obsessed with that. And that makes him so good. But our 9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
As a footballer. So
you
much
both
more
agree with me on
natural.
that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer.
Yeah.
Now, you can't compare the numbers because Ronaldo's numbers are crazy.
You know what I mean? Like a better player.
Yeah, if I had-
He's a better player.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Now, I can tell you this for the last time. Time to look ahead to the day with talkSPORT Bets and their ambassador, Ryan Douglas. Ryan, there's hardly a dry eye in the house here.
Honestly, I can look, they're all cracking up over there. You can't see it behind the cameras, but what an emotional day this is for everybody.
You bought bagels today as well.
I bought bagels. Troy was just fist pumping off camera because it's my last day, and I've not
on camera.
I've not worn a cap, Troy. I'm just displaying it here so you can see it on camera, just so you can see my hair. That's all. So.
Bagels. Where's the talkSPORT Bet dough? No dinner's being bought for us. No?
I like you said that on the last day.
Well, I hear in good authority that you and Ryan had a very nice meal the other night together.
Yeah, with Joanne Flitt, absolutely.
Yeah,
with Joe, one of the management people who was
top
over
dogs.
here.
Yeah.
And I take it. Well, I'm hoping that you paid.
I was going to pay.
Oh, you were going. You were.
No. I'm taking all you lot out tomorrow night so you can shut your face.
All right.
But Joanne Flitt was comping it and putting it for expenses.
Yeah, he was.
You know what talkSPORT are like. You know?
I don't think we needed that detail.
You can get a bag of McDonald's chips if you're lucky from this.
Ryan, before you board the flight home, you popped into the studio, and you're going to talk. Scotland.
I'm sorry. I'm not in the business of breaking hearts, but every time I come on and talk about Scotland, I can see your heart breaking over there, Jim. So 2 days ago, you were 5-2 to qualify. Yesterday, you were 16-1 to qualify. Today, you are a whopping 100-1 to qualify. So I know you've spoke about your chances, but I'm just leaving that information with you right at the top. That Scotland are 100-1 as of right now.
Thank you very much, Ryan. There was almost an inevitability about it. If you're one of those Scotland squad players sitting in a hotel over here, I mean, what must that be like, Troy? Like, we're going. Just tell us that we're going.
Yeah, but I think the reality's kicked in now. So you know what? Maybe today you maybe want to enjoy it, enjoy wherever they're staying, and you know, go out and see the place and kind of get ready for what will be a long summer, because these are the hardest summers when you lose again. Not at the World Cup, but we lost to Man City in the final 6-0. It's the longest summer I've ever had because you just won a game. You just want to, and everyone's going, oh, how was that? Oh, how was that? It's like, do one, mate. It's the nicest one. You know what I say? I know. That's what they'll. But hopefully, someone there with wiser mind is saying, hey, go and enjoy this last day.
I remember that day. You were truly dreadful. Now,
the best part.
I'm just getting back for the Scotland comment.
The line has.
I don't know how Dare shows his face in public these days.
Exactly. Exactly.
I played well.
Ryan, come on, let's move it along. England, what have we got? Come on, brighten these lads up.
Yeah, I will do. I want to talk about the actual match itself because England are so odds on, it's untrue. It's like magic of the cup. I've said it before, Premier League versus lower league stuff. That's where you see these prices. So I'll talk about the specials that we got. talkSPORT Bet have super boosted England to score in both halves. So if you're in the camp, you think Tuchel will take the handbrake off and we will see that version of England against Croatia. That's 5-4. It was odds on. It's gone all the way to 5-4. Tuchel himself, talkSPORT Bet have a special about him. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. It's not happened just yet, but Tuchel to sing the national anthem, right? Okay. talkSPORT Bet have that on site. You can bet on that right now. It's 7-2. In my mind, Tuchel on the field, I'm still unconvinced about him. I've never been blown away.
I love it.
Off the field, though, Troy, step in the right direction. He at least wanted to see the players sing the national anthem. So, hey, we might be edging towards it, eh?
We need to get a bit of intel in this, don't we?
Yeah.
Thomas, are you going to be singing it?
You're the man, Jim.
Undecided. All right.
Given he's German, he's quite related to the royal family, isn't he?
Oh, there you go. The betting again, very briefly, on whether Thomas sings it or not.
7-2. 7-2. You can get that right now if he sings it at the tournament.
And where else do you want to go with England?
Kane. So Kane, obviously, again, for me, I'm always never blown away by Kane in an England shirt. I think he pales in comparison to when he's in a club shirt. That's just how I feel about it. But he's 6-1 to get a hat-trick at some point in the tournament. That includes the game today. I don't know whether it's the wingers that are being picked, guys. You know, I know we all have our opinion on that, but does the focus have to be more on the attacking players, on the wingers, to take the pressure off Kane? Because he's probably the most creative, paradoxically, in the squad.
Paradoxically is a great word. I don't know what it means, but it sounded good. Look, for me, I don't even want him playing. I think we saw people getting injured. We're through. Rest him. That would be my opinion. Because if he goes out, we have no one like him to even replace. Again, Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney.
Norway did that with Haaland, didn't they, Troy?
They did, yeah.
Bench.
So
how would he react to that?
Harry wants to be in a conversation with the Golden Boot. He wants to be up there because all the big guys are scoring. We've just heard the Argentina manager saying that Messi will be on the bench as well. So, me personally, I would like to see him on the bench. Just put him in some cotton wool and say, "Hey, you got a load more games coming your way."
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Are we finishing Kane?
Must be good because Simon never spoke. So, all right.
We can finish on
Pickford. Let's finish on Jordan.
We'll do a little bit of Pickford. We get Simon's opinion on this. He's been a bit headless chickeny. The first. I don't know if that is a phrase. That's not as good as paradoxical, is it?
No.
But he's been a bit headless chickeny the first 2 games. He's 8-1 for the Golden Glove. He's 5th in the betting. It doesn't look likely that will happen. But if you're Tuchel, do you double down on backing Pickford? Because I mean, I know Troy's had his opinion on him as well. He's looked a bit off it, in my opinion. Usually he's quite reliable.
But he's made his decision. He's his number one. It's not doubling down. He's made his decision.
Yeah.
He's not defying an onslaught of observations. What's better behind him? I don't think there's any debate that Jordan Pickford is probably the best goalkeeper in England right now. Whether there's a rick or whether there's some nervousness about the way that he plays at certain times, it is what it is. But I don't think Thomas Tuchel is factoring into his thinking anything about Jordan Pickford. He's on the starting 11.
He actually makes more of a problem, doesn't he? If he was to change it. Unless he changes 5 or 6.
Yeah.
He creates more of a problem if he was to just change it for one game.
So if he rotates today, you don't rotate the keeper?
I don't think he would. I think you just leave him. Again, you say he's been headless chickeny.
Yeah.
I think that's just I just think that's who he is. Like, he is very wild, very erratic at times, but he hasn't let the nation down. So keep going.
Yeah, he can be impulsive. I think.
Yeah.
As opposed to
probably the best word for
headless chickeny.
Yeah.
That's he's from Erdington with Gabriel Bungle. That's what happens.
I used up all my vocab when I said paradox.
What I will say about Ryan is this, that he hasn't just been, Simon, the talkSPORT Bet ambassador in his time with us over here in New York. He's been part of the team and with a solid contribution all the time. And I enjoyed your company the other night, Ryan, at the Mets.
Oh, it was great.
At the baseball. When we had the chance to get free of this lot and enjoy ourselves and speak to some really good New Yorkers. In all seriousness, well done.
Did you really like the baseball? Thank you. Did you really like the baseball? Did you?
I wouldn't say that I'm a convert to the baseball, Simon. I'd been to Boston at the Red Sox before, and it's the same thing. It goes on forever. But it gave Ryan and I the chance to get to know each other a lot more.
Absolutely.
And I, for one, really enjoyed
And that's why you're going.
Yeah.
You're sprinting for that plane now, yeah?
It's been a pleasure, guys. Absolute pleasure to be on the show with you. And I'll be back in the UK with you. So no worries for all the listeners and viewers.
talkSPORT Bet ambassador Ryan Douglas, ladies and gentlemen, who leaves us today. And we will be seeing Ryan back at base and more of him, I'm quite sure, when we get back to the news building. And that was a look at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, just for Ryan. Gamble aware, deserve.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
listen, I love him. And people have asked me, would I take him at Arsenal? 100%. But you look at the last 2 seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last 2 seasons for PSG, the 2 Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out, they win back-to-back. It just doesn't look well on Mbappe, does it?
You could say that he's responsible for that. But in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other, they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they have met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think I won't be the guy who will say that he's the one who responsible for the mess at Madrid. I think if you have Mbappe in your team, you are in a good position to win something. It depends as well of other players, The ego of players, in Madrid is so huge and devastating, in the dressing room.
Is he the best player on the planet?
Actually?
Yeah.
I won't say that. He's one of them.
Who is?
This season? Or you're saying?
Right now. If you're going to maybe write a list of your top 5 players, who would be number 1 best player in the world right now?
I really love Olise. He's been amazing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And the way he entered into the national team without any
Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League, as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players. The attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
The New York skyline. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, if you're watching even in Prime Video, that we've got used to it. We love it. We're going to miss it when we go. It is Saturday morning here in this part of the world. Just gone 9:05 in the morning, with you back in a sweltering UK. 2:05 in the afternoon, and it all builds up to a big one tonight. England take on Panama this evening. 10 o'clock your time in the UK. It's live on talkSPORT. Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will take you right through that one. England's final group game. You'd expect them to win it, and win it by a few goals. We shall see. You will find out when you tune in to talkSPORT. 10 o'clock UK time tonight for that. I tell you what, let's head back to the UK right now, because where do we find talkSPORT fight pundit Spencer Oliver? I think we find him in York Hall in London. Spencer, hi to you. What's going on, mate? Good morning to you from New York. Good afternoon back in the UK. How are you?
Jim, guys, yeah, I'm all good, thanks. I'm at the York Hall Bethnal Green for a show that's going on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel from 3 p.m. today. Finishes around 8 p.m, ready for the football tonight.
Excellent. Spencer, good to speak to you, because out here, all the talk is about the big fight tonight down in Brooklyn. I'll get to that. Xander Zayas up against Boots Ennis. We spoke to Boots Ennis here just the other day. But I'm sure Simon will come in on this one, as will Troy, no doubt. Heavyweight world champion Alexander Usyk has announced that he will vacate all of his belts. So Usyk held the WBA Super, WBC and IBF heavyweight belts. And it now means, Spencer, as you know, the whole heavyweight division opens up. All the belts are available. So why has he done it, and what's the significance of it?
Well, I think, Jim, look, he's had a long, hard think about where he is in the boxing game. He's achieved everything. Two-time undisputed cruiserweight champion, two-time undisputed world heavyweight champion, beat everybody there is twice. What else is there left to achieve? We saw in the last fight out in Egypt, we were out there covering that fight against Rico Verhoeven, and he didn't look particularly good, if I'm totally honest. You know, the years are on the clock and time does catch up with everyone, and, you know, Father Time waits for no one. And I think for Alexander Usyk, I think that we saw the cracks maybe starting to appear against Verhoeven, whether he took him lightly, you know, whatever it was, he didn't look the Usyk of old. And he probably recognises this is maybe the time to check out. You're talking about legacy. You're talking about now he's financially secure. He'll go down in the history books as one of the greatest to ever do it. And who can argue with him? He's vacated the belts. He's had that time to think. He wants one and done, one and he's checking out. That may be a rematch with Rico Verhoeven. Who knows? But I don't think I see him boxing any of the contenders coming up. He doesn't want to damage that legacy. And, you know, I think it's a good move for him at this stage.
OK. So, Simon, are we talking about Usyk Zuffa bound, retirement bound, or both?
Well, no, I think he's going to fight. I think he's made that clear himself. It feels and smells like Zuffa. And it's a wonderful shot in the arm for them, because it gives them credence and even more credibility, because they don't have very much now besides Dana White's noise. They don't have elite fighters. They have fighters that are not the best in class. You know, if you're going to sign Johnny Fisher, what we're supposed to do a fanfare about that. But the bottom line is, if you get Usyk in that mix, maybe you do. But I think this actually, I think it's morally right. I think maybe Joseph Parker scratching his head and wishing he'd done it a year ago, and Joe Parker might not have found himself in the circumstances he's in now. But look, it opens up the division. Agit Kabiel gets an opportunity to shoot for a belt quicker, and as a vacant belt, he might even get awarded it. I don't know, Spence. And then you've got perhaps Moses Atoma being able to elevate very quickly. You've got Daniel Dubois with the IBF belt. So I think it's the right move for Alexander Usyk. I think it's the next generation of boxing. I don't think heavyweight boxing needs Alexander Usyk. He's got another generation of fighters coming through. But we are about to see the last swan songs of this triumvirate of Fury, Joshua, and Usyk being, with all due respect to Tyson Fury, the elite of the lot. And I think it's the right time to go, I think, well, from holding the world title belts.
Spencer thinks for Usyk it's one and done. We'll see. Because only as recently as March, Usyk was telling us all about his next 3 opponents. Have a listen.
Listen, Rico, this is first. Second, it's a who win.
Wardley or Dubois?
Wardley Dubois.
You can't see Dubois again.
Yeah, and third fight, it's my friend Greedy Belly Tyson Fury.
So, I mean, where are we at with that now? I mean, Usyk saying in a video message just yesterday, friends, I'm leaving the belts, but not the sport, because I still have my last dance. So, I mean, he's making it clear, Spencer, the end is nigh, but not just yet.
Yeah, the last dance means, Jim, that it is one and done. He wants one more. He's probably had time to think about that. Yeah, you know, in his own mind before his last fight, he was talking about the 3 more fights he was going to have before he checks out from the game. And I think he probably recognises now is the time, and that's why he's relinquished all of the belts. And it does open up a huge opportunity for fighters. You know, we got Frank Sanchez is the IBF #1. The #2 is vacant. Moses Atauma and Philip Hrgovic are actually 3 and 4. So, you know, there might be conversations about them two possibly being able to box for a vacant title on the 29th of August. You got Tyson Fury's in at #1 in the WBC rankings. Agit Kabayel, which you were talking about there, Jim, he's the interim champion. So he will be elevated to WBC champion. And you'll get Tyson Fury with maybe the opportunity to fight Kabayel for the vacant WBC title. If that fight with Anthony Joshua, you know, doesn't happen, or if it does get announced, will we get Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury for the vacant belt? There's so many things that can happen in this game. At the moment, it opens up a world of opportunity for so many fighters.
Okay. Tonight down the road in Brooklyn, Xander Zayas, the super welterweight champion, puts his WBA, WBO belts on the line against the former unified welterweight champion, Jaron Boots Ennis. It's live in DAZN. Whole bunch of us going to that, Spencer, in this part of the world. This one is eagerly awaited here, and all the sensible forecasting is that Boots is going to do it. What do you think?
Well, look, do you know what, Jim? It's one of the best fights in boxing right now. You're very fortunate you're out in the right part of the world and you're going to witness it, because Jaron Ennis is a guy that people are talking about as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Well, he gets a chance to prove it tonight, because if he beats Xander Zayas, who's an unbelievable fighter, as you said, current world champion, 23-0, 13 KOs. The kid can fight when he has to fight. He's excellent ring craft as well. He boxes so well. This is a coming-of-age fight, really, for Jaron Ennis. Although he is a 2-weight world champion, he's in against a serious fighter here, and he'll have a serious argument to announce himself as the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world if he beats Xander Zayas. And equally for Xander Zayas as well. Great opportunity for both of these guys.
The problem for Zayas, Spence, isn't it, is that Boots Ennis can do everything well. If he stays in the pocket, he can do that well. If he wants to go at range, he can do that well. So he can do everything, whereas Xander Zayas, despite being a very good fighter, can't do that, can he?
Well, listen, you're right, Simon. I mean, look, Jaron Ennis is an incredible fighter. Like you say, he switches from orthodox to southpaw, controls the space so well, very spiteful, punches in bunches, great combinations, and he has that knockout power. 31 of his 35 have come inside the distance. It's a tough night for Xander Zayas, who's only 23 years of age, and a kid from Puerto Rico who they're building up. And he's got a great reputation. But if Jaron Ennis is as good as we think, or as we all think he is, Jaron Ennis should win tonight, and he should win in style.
Spence, just looking at Ben Whittaker on the card as well, how difficult is it for him now to put on a good show, look good, without everyone saying, oh, he hasn't really fought anybody? I just find Ben's in this weird area at the moment where he can't really win.
Well, it's about opportunity, isn't it? And I think that he's one of those guys that feeds off the pressure. Yeah, he derailed a little bit against Liam Cameron, but he come back and he righted the wrongs of that contest. And he looks like he's got the potential, as we've always said, to go on and become an elite star in the light heavyweight division. And this is a great opportunity for him again. He will want that pressure. He'll feed off that pressure. He gets a chance to box over in the States and, start making a name for himself over there. I think the Matchroom will do a great job building him, giving great publicity. And if he's a great fighter. You can't deny that. Yeah, he had a bad night against Cameron, but he put that right. And I'm looking forward to him continuing his career and seeing if he can go on in a very tough division, by the way, and become a world light heavyweight champion. But you need great dance partners, Troy, and he's certainly got him in the light heavyweight division.
Where does he go, Spence? I mean, Rivera's probably the most recognisable name on his record is a loss to Badou Jack about 5 or 6 years ago. So despite the fact the kid's got a record where there's a lot of knockouts in there, there's not a lot of quality seemingly making up his resume. If Ben does what is expected of him and wins this fight and wins it with style, where does he go next? Does he go Dan Aziz? Does he go Craig Richards? Does he go Lyndon Arthur? Is that the sort of territory he's now stepping into?
That's exactly the territory, Simon. That's exactly it. I mean, let's not run away with ourselves here. We know this kid has talent. Yeah, absolutely. You know, Olympic silver medalist. We know the story. We know the backstory, and we know what he's like in the ring. Switches, controls the space. He can hit a little bit. You know, he's a great prospect. But let's not run away with ourselves here. That is exactly where he should be. Craig Richards, Dan Aziz, that sort of level, British level, really. You know, fringe.
Lyndon Arthur? Lyndon Arthur?
Lyndon Arthur's a great fight for him as well. Of course it is. Them sort of fighters are the ones where he gets an opportunity to. He's still got to develop. You know, he's not near world class yet. Yeah, he's got world rankings, but I wouldn't be moving him into world-class opposition just yet.
Spencer, just before you leave us, mate, any intel? I mean, you know AJ so well. You're on a WhatsApp group with him. Any intel as to where he and Fury will fight over here or back with you in the UK?
No, it's still uncertain at the moment, Jim. I had a conversation actually with Spencer Brown the other day as well, he said there's still very much in negotiations where this fight's going to take place. Will it take place here in Britain? He hopes so. We hope so. But obviously, you know, I think that also, Jim, the fight will land on Netflix. So what we got to remember is Netflix are not worried about big crowds. They're not worried about big arenas, the stadiums, etc. They're worried about people watching it on Netflix. So they won't mind where this fight takes place. If it's in England, we could see it in a smaller venue. You could see it at the AO Arena. You could see it, and all that will mean is ticket prices will be bumped up higher to make it more financially.
Okay, Spencer.
For the fighters.
All right, last word with Simon. Where's it going to be?
I can't see how the fight will happen in November. I cannot see a fight of that scale. First of all, they won't take it down to an arena. They want it at a stadium, and they want 90,000 seats. You can't take the off chance of sticking it in Wembley, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, and it's pouring with rain. So I don't see a parallel universe. Despite what Eddie Hearn's sitting there saying, I think he's being dishonest. I think it's going to be overseas.
Spencer, you're still going. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, couldn't we see it in somewhere like Cardiff, Simon? You know, we saw Anthony Joshua box in Cardiff before.
With the roof.
80-odd thousand fans
in March against Joseph Parker. I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possibly.
I mean,
possibly.
That's a possibility, but I think the conversations are definitely ongoing still, whether it's here, Saudi Arabia, America. Them three countries are definitely in the markets.
Spencer, good job all the way from York Hall. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live in talkSPORT here in New York. It is 9:15 in the morning, 2:15 where you are back home in the UK.
What have you made of Stevie Clarke? He's come under the spotlight for how he's handled the journalists. He's come under the spotlight how he's set up Scotland, certainly in the second game as well. And some people have even questioned why he's had his term there extended before this World Cup. What do you make of that?
Well, Stevie Clarke, I played against him, and I know him, and he's not a Jose, you know. He's a very quiet guy, to be honest. And you have to look at what he's achieved as Scotland manager. It's brilliant, absolutely up there with the best. So. You know, people have got to realise in the press, I know the press getting on this, you know, this storm of the fans and the Tartan Army and we party and all that, but the press have got to realise, you know, where our players play, who they play for in the big league and the World League. And we've done well to get there. We could have qualified, and I don't think we will. I think Steve Clarke's been frank and he's been honest. And I think he's right. There's too many permutations against us. Which is going to, again, we're going to be crying losers, you know, oh, if only. I had it in 82. You know, we should have beaten Russia in the final game. We drew 2-2 because we conceded 2 goals against New Zealand first game, 15th of June. So we knew it was going to be tough. And that was a side with Souness, Hansen, Dalglish, Strachan, etc. You know, it was a John Robertson. Great side. It's not easy when you get the big league. and you know, the final stages. And I'm afraid we're just going to be once again we're just going to fall short. But it's a shame because the punters are brilliant. But I think the press have got to look at themselves and say, we're a small nation. We maybe have underachieved again. But thinking about it, looking at what Steve Clarke's done, he's not flamboyant. He's not charismatic.
I have this mental image of people back home, especially at the cricket at Trent Bridge, sweltering in the heat, but watching how the cricket unfolds. England-New Zealand, the third test. It's at Trent Bridge, and so is Sam Ellard. Sam, what are you watching?
Jim, England 335 for 7, trailing by 103 runs. Still lots of work for England to do. The one wicket in the afternoon session, the big one for New Zealand. Harry Brook going for 58. Fantastic bit of bowling as well. Concussion sub Zach Folkes with his second wicket, getting a little bit of movement off the seam and taking the top of Harry Brook's off stump. Harry Brook looking just to defend, but was beaten with that little bit of movement going away from the right-handed batter. So England's last senior batter has gone. It's Atkinson and Archer who are out the crease. Atkinson's faced 50 balls. Archer just arrived. There was 4 wickets for New Zealand in the morning session, including Bethel for 74 and Juru trapped LBW for 21. So Archer's got 6, Atkinson's got 16. The new ball available for New Zealand in 3 overs time. England 335 for 7. That's trailing New Zealand by 103 runs.
Sam, thanks very much indeed. We're enjoying your updates on the cricket from back in the UK. Ben Stokes, of course, we know, playing in that test, back in the England 11 and captaining the side. And, of course, we know all about recent happenings in Ben's world. An ECB investigation this week found out that Stokes and Gus Atkinson breached contractual obligations but were blameless for violent conduct in a London nightclub just some days ago. Now, England rugby stand-in captain Jamie George, would you believe, has entered this discussion because the other individual involved in this alleged altercation was Saracens teammate of George, Totoa Avua. Now, Jamie George has called for his Saracens teammate Avua to be supported and not condemned for his, quotes, immature behaviour, aiming a punch at the cricketer Atkinson on that ill-fated night out. Jamie George is saying, look, he's a young kid who has only left Samoa once. He's immature. He's a rabbit in the headlights in London. He's a good kid, but he got it wrong. And he says a lot of young people get it wrong in some way, shape or form. And Jamie George says, we'll look after him. We'll make sure that he has role models around him. Troy, what is your take on all of this? Is age a valid excuse for what ultimately is, after all, poor behaviour?
Yes and no. And I can say that from a sense of I was 21, 22 when I got into the trouble that I got into, and it's ultimately there as well. If you're not from London and you go into London, you can be a deer in headlights and you can go, oh, wow, what a wonderful place this is, and you get caught up in the razzmatazz. But you could also make a mistake, learn from it, and it's only a mistake if you don't do it again. And like in my situation, a very similar type of situation.
What were you, 23?
Yeah, 21, 22, 23. I was around that age, but young, immature, been exposed to things I'd never been exposed to before in terms of finances and London and the lifestyle that comes with that. And you get caught up in it. But the biggest thing is he's got a teammate around him who's like, oh, hold on, get yourself in here, we'll look after you. And again, like I say, it's only a mistake if you make that once. If you keep doing it, then it becomes part of your behaviour.
Simon, the ECB have declined to comment on this, but the Times understands there's a degree of frustration and surprise at the lack of action taken by Saracens against this young player.
It's none of their business. ECB deal with their issues and let the rugby world deal with theirs. I think,
but it is some part of their business, Simon, because a member of the ECB security staff was physically injured and required stitches on that night.
Yeah, and it's incumbent upon the rugby guys to deal with the issue. The fact that one of the captains has come out and he hasn't sought to justify the behaviour, he's given you some form of explanation and also some sort of suggestion that they're going to deal with this young man and make him understand the responsibilities he has and get him past the silliness. You know, careful, your England captain wasn't so long ago outside nightclubs in Bristol getting himself in all kinds of situations that lots of people might suggest that he got away with one there. And so I think that really and truly deflection, and I understand the deflection here because it takes the heat out of the conversation about their lack of perceived action in terms of Ben Stokes. I'm in the camp that England cricket team would be better with higher standards, of course, but better with Ben Stokes as a captain. And the bloodletting of let's get rid of him to replace him with someone that makes the team worse never made any sense to me. So the ECB took their view. They took their view. They took their view about how their players behaved, albeit they might not have been the instigators of a physical altercation. His captain, who was part of the rule-making situation, breached a curfew. So you worry about your side of things and let the rugby world worry about their side of things.
And also, just to dovetail, we sat here, a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about this very incident and I was talking about the mental health issues potentially around Ben Stokes as well.
Yeah, well, certainly his coach did.
His coach did, yes, sorry. And it just feels, again, like the ECB are kind of going, it wasn't us, it was them. It wasn't us, it was them. They haven't actually addressed the issue. They haven't actually told you what the issue was. Now it's security guy was there. Now, again, looking at it from a different prism, if you're the security guy, your job's to get your people away from trouble.
Yeah.
So why are you right next to them when there is trouble occurring?
But we're accepting here, are we, Troy, that in your case you were 23, young, impressionable, and you ran into a bit of trouble. Stupid. Yeah. Avua, the rugby player, is 21.
Yeah.
Young, no doubt, hit by the headlights of being in London, etc., etc. So he'll learn from it, says Jamie George. Ben Stokes, for his involvement, is 35. What's his excuse?
Maybe it's his behaviour. We've seen it enough over the years, and again.
And no one's making an excuse for him.
Exactly. It kind of feels like it's kind of that's what he does. No one's saying, oh, he's going to learn, he's going to be better. It's, again, respectfully, and I hope we touched on it really well a few weeks ago. I hope he is, if he does have any mental issues, dealing with people. But it feels like excuses are being laid in front of.
Well, the fascinating thing is the thing that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
Is the conversation between those that demand of him of an exacting standard and those that have forgiven him for falling short of it, right? So in an ideal world, in a wonderful world that we all wish to live in, where no one ever makes a mistake or makes judgment calls that are poor,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
He's made a judgment call which is poor. And the ECB have considered this in the rounds and decided that whatever sanction he's going to be given, he's going to be given behind closed doors. And one of them isn't taking away the England cricket captaincy. Now, I've never been in the camp of suggesting that someone's talent should allow them to defy protocol, procedure and standards. Otherwise, you create anarchy. If he gets up, they all get up, it'll be anarchy, right?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that also there's a balance between this ridiculous optic of the way the world's got to consequence people. You say something that people don't like, you get cancelled. You say something that people don't agree with, you get categorised in a certain way, and there's no redemption for you. In this situation, Ben Stokes has clearly satisfied either the requirements of him in a disciplinary conduct hearing with the ECB, and my view is, what the hell is the point of taking him out of the England cricket team to make the team worse?
Yeah.
The Australians quickly forgave Steve Smith and brought him back into the fold. We are too worried in this country about being noble participants in not winning anything. Let's have our best players. Let's give them a smack when they step out.
You see, I think that's a different conversation, because I think this is a conversation about upholding standards. And Ben Stokes is the England cricket captain, because I'm damn sure, Troy, when you were Watford captain, it was emphasised to you, make sure you lead by example. Am I right?
Yeah, you try to at all costs. That doesn't mean that you don't break the rules. That doesn't mean that you don't fall short every now and again. But, you know, on the whole, you try and do it. I think where Ben struggles in this situation is he was part of the group that made these rules and enforced them. He was part of that.
Yeah.
So you then don't really have a leg to stand on because you're part of it. You know every part of it. There's also another little train of thought, and this might get me in trouble. I apologise. But some people just like a tear-up on a night out. You might not want to say it because he's an athlete, but some people like to have a fight. It's not a great thing to do, and I hope he gets it sorted out. But I know a lot of lads who I used to go out with, that used to be the reason that they had a good night, is because they had a fight. You'd expect him to handle himself better, but maybe, unfortunately, that's just what happens up and down the country.
We're all right in equal measure.
Yeah.
You know, you saw back in the 80s and 90s, you saw Ian Botham and his antics, whatever he got up to, and he was a leading figure in English cricket. He was the England cricket captain. You see this sort of things going on.
I mean, in this instance, the ECB investigation has stressed that Stokes and Atkinson breached contractual obligations, but were blameless for violent conduct.
For the physical altercation. But let's be, you know, some people run to the fire. And I would suspect that he was not entirely blameless. I'd imagine there's some provocation going on. And whilst you shouldn't judge by people what they've done previously, if someone shows you what they are, then there's a possibility you should believe them. And we've seen Ben in these situations before. So I don't think that Ben is a shrinking violet. If someone's given him the big one in a nightclub, I'm sure he had a few things to say. Now, he might not have been throwing punches, but I'm pretty sure there was probably some altercation of some shape or form, albeit verbal. The question is, why was he there? And the answer must have been satisfied to the ECB. And all of these journalists, again, and I know you think they're my particular hobby horse, that have never managed a cricket team, never managed a business, never run a business, never done anything in real world, are very well steeped in how to deal with situations. And I'm uncomfortable with that. I think that cutting our nose off to spite our face, should Ben Stokes be really having his mind concentrated by those guys that he's purports to represent, i.e. the ECB that have given him a central contract, that he is breaching the... Yes, he should. Do I fear that they probably haven't got the gumption to do it? Possibly. But they're going to be made to look really foolish and really weak if Stokes is a recidivist and does something else.
Sure. OK, over here, the USA, a lot of excitement about what the USA may or may not do further down the line in these World Cup finals. Mauricio Pochettino has been offered a new 4-year deal by the US Federation. Interesting that, we'll get into that next. It's 2:30 at home, 9:30 here in New York, and we're live in talkSPORT.
Has been terrified all week about the Ghanaian witch doctor he slagged off.
No, he did not.
Supposedly putting a curse on Harry Kane and England's number 9, subsequently missing a sitter. Now, thankfully, the witch doctor, of course, lifted the curse.
It's funny.
Right. Now, there was a report in The Sun that you, Emmanuel, were cursed by a witch doctor.
It's Senegal.
Ignored it
2002.
And got injured.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, before the World Cup in 2002, no, after the World Cup, actually, because we went out very quickly, during the World Cup in Asia. And when I came back, I was in holidays in south of France, and I had a friend, he was selling watches, on the beach, and he was expecting me. He was waiting for me for days. And then when he saw me, he came to me straight away and he said, I'm so happy to see you because I have something important to tell you. And I said, what is it? And he said, you have to be very careful because... you have how can I say that?
Curse?
A curse, on you, and you have to follow exactly what I'm going to tell you. And I said, what is it? He said, you have to go in Africa and you have to buy a cow and you have to kill it, and you have to follow.
Bit detailed and extreme, that one.
Yeah, but I said, listen, I understand, and I really appreciate that, but this is your traditions, and I'm not into it, so I won't do it. And 6 months later, I had to stop. But is it coincidental link? I won't say that.
So what happened to you? You got injured?
Yeah. And
they
cut my leg in 2 parts, so I had to stop playing football.
Did you get injured kicking a cow?
No.
It is indeed Saturday morning here in New York, Saturday afternoon in the UK, and we're on duty. Simon Jordan, Jim White, live from this great city. Troy Deeney is with us. England take on Panama tonight, 10 o'clock UK time, live on talkSPORT. Looking forward to that. England expected to win it and win it well. We shall see in the fullness of time to that. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, is up early here in New York and joins us live. And I think, Mr. Crook, you got a bit of team news for us, have you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Bukayo Saka should come back in now. Obviously, having come off the bench in the first two games, I think Thomas Tuchel said yesterday he's now fit to start, so I would expect that to happen. Obviously, we reported yesterday that Reece James is not only out of this game, I do think there's a genuine danger that he might not kick another ball at this tournament, depending on what the scans say about his hamstring injuries. They've got a problem at right back, a problem I think they probably should have seen coming when you call up two players in Livramento and James who have got history of injury issues, and then when one of them pulls out, you don't call up Trent Alexander-Arnold, which would have seemed to be the obvious thing to do. You call up another central defender. Jarrell Quansah might well start at right back today. Only played there twice for Bayer Leverkusen last season.
I mean, with all due respect, Troy, it's Panama. So if you are going to have to throw in one or two because of what's going on within the squad, i.e. Reece James, then it's maybe the right game to do it.
Well, it's the only game you can do it because that's all we've got at the moment. But I think, again, if we're talking about putting somebody in at right back to see what they can do, I would like someone that's going to actually attack them. I don't think they're going to get much work from the Panamanians, unfortunately. But, you know...
You see them against Croatia. They weren't bad against Croatia, were they?
I dominated possession against Ghana as well.
Well, everyone does. Because Ghana give you the ball and say, no problem.
Yeah.
But, again, if we're going to be... Again, two things can be right. What you're saying can be right. But also, if we're going to see this England team that's dominant and getting on the front foot, which we've been alluded to, then the Panamanians have to defend. So they can't really do too much. I don't like the fact that he's talking about Konza going at right back, because I think Konza's our most reliable centre-back, if I'm being personally honest. And then if he goes to right back, then you're talking about John Stones and Gahey in there.
Yeah.
You are literally... What's happening with Reece James, you're waiting for with John Stones, unfortunately.
OK, Troy, let's head from New York over to Los Angeles. We're joined by talkSPORT's correspondent inside the US camp, and he is Ben Jacobs. Ben, thanks for joining us on the show this morning here in New York. News on Pochettino, and you've been watching this very closely. It's your story. What are you telling us?
Yeah, Mauricio Pochettino, before the World Cup started, was offered a 4-year contract, and the parties have decided to revisit a decision at the end of the tournament, likely defined by how far the US men's national team go. And some may say also whether Mauricio Pochettino this summer gets a club job opportunity. Before Ruben Amorim was appointed at Milan, and quite close to the beginning of the World Cup, Pochettino was in talks with Milan. He was one of the candidates for Tottenham, but Roberto De Zerbi, of course, got that job. And this is really a development after March during the international break, where despite the US men's national team losing heavily to Belgium, who put 5 past them, and Portugal as well, Pochettino was asked by myself at a press conference, do you have an appetite to stay, or are you going to leave when your contract expires? And he said in that press conference that he was open to extending. His exact phrase was, why not? Subsequent to that, US Soccer and Pochettino have been in talks, and there is a contract proposal on the table. Whether or not it develops remains to be seen, because some sources still feel that Mauricio Pochettino is more inclined to go back into club management. But with Spurs, job taken, Milan, job taken, no viable Premier League opportunity as of now, maybe Pochettino might change his mind if the US men's national team can go far at this tournament. And Pochettino could, should he take that job, manage not just the World Cup qualification campaign, and if the US qualify, be at the 2030 World Cup in 4 years' time, but potentially, I'm told, be the manager of the US men's national team at the LA Olympics in 2028 as well.
Ben, interesting. I'm going to get the opinion of the boys on that in a second. It was interesting. We'll come back to you in a second. It was interesting in here yesterday. The much-capped former US player DeMarcus Beasley was with us, and he spoke about the impact that Pochettino has made on the US and the US players. Have a listen.
Coming into this cycle of the World Cup,
we had some issues. We had some culture issues throughout our squad. You know, guys were thinking that it was too easy to come into the national team, that it was a privilege or it wasn't a privilege, and they just thought because of the name on their back they would be in camp. And Pochettino changed that.
Changed it.
He left some big names out, and then a couple of friendly matches and a couple of friendly windows.
So Ben, we'll speak to the lads in a moment, but Pochettino, what is the feeling at the moment within the US camp? Last night, I was out in a different district to the one that we're staying in. A lot of US fans are saying, this is our time. They think they will go very deep in this tournament.
Yeah, I think the fan mood is one of hype, and that's particularly after the first two victories against Paraguay and also, in addition, Australia. And the challenge, I suppose, is that those two games were against two quite poor opponents. And I think even though the US started fast in each game and really got the home crowd behind them, critics of the US men's national team are looking at that loss to Turkey, albeit a much rotated side, and are starting to wonder what this team is going to be like against serious opposition. Now, fans are behind this team. They're excited. They think they can beat Bosnia, have got a kind draw, could make the quarterfinals or better. Pochettino snapped back at the media and basically told us after Turkey, media are acting like Turkey have won the group and the US men's national team have gone out. So he's unperturbed by a loss to Turkey. But the short answer is, offensively, they've got the ability to go far on their day, and they've made quick starts in all of the games, including the loss against Turkey. Defensively, they remain frail, and Bosnia are going to be no pushover. So this is a game that really will define the tournament, because if the US men's national team beat Bosnia, suddenly they're one game away from a quarter-final, and the home crowd do believe that they can go very, very far. If they lose to Bosnia, totally different complexion on the tournament. And then I think Pochettino will come under criticism, not just from the media, but from the US men's national team fans, who maybe suddenly go from hype to feeling quite
Okay. Ben in LA, thank you very much indeed for joining us. What would it say to us, Alex, Simon, Troy in New York here, if Pochettino does commit for a longer spell of time with the USA? Would you question his, I don't know, his ambition?
I think I questioned his ambition when he took the job, to be honest. But I think Ben's right. When you look around, he's not going to get the Spurs job now. Milan's gone. Obviously, Manchester United have gone to Michael Carrick. He's always flirted around that job. So I'm not really sure where there is for him to go. I'm pleased for Mauricio Pochettino because I've been a big defender of his over the years. I know Simon will say he's a serial loser. He never wins any trophies, and that's right. But he did take Tottenham to a Champions League final. Tottenham in a Champions League final. You won't be seeing that again in the near future. Yeah. So I think the fact he has rebuilt his reputation to a certain extent with what they've done in the group, and they're going to face tougher tests along the way. I'm pleased for him. I think he's a good coach, a better coach than people give him credit for.
There's another little angle as well. He's not going to have a pre-season with any club that he goes to, just because of where the nature of it. So looking at the US and where he's taking it, maybe it is, we sign, we keep working, but
he has a lovely lifestyle as well, doesn't he?
Of course, but Man United in a year might be there. You know, this time next year, that might be there. You don't know how the Carrick situation plays out. So if you're looking at it from Pochettino's angle of got everybody on side, from the US audience to the fan base to the media, all love me. I can take this job. I've got 4 years. There's nothing saying he can't leave it next year. Just walk out the job.
I mean, Simon, it might all change if they go out to Bosnia.
Oh, sure. I mean, he's hardly going to say in a press conference when asked about his future, listen, I'm out of it. You won't see my backside for dust, is he? Right? But you look at it and the Americans' idea, I mean, they're a shy retiring nation, so there's no surprise they think they sneeze and the rest of the world catches a cold. They're not going to win this World Cup. No chance. Full stop, period. They've had a couple of good games against a poor Paraguayan side and a poor Australian side. And Turkey, albeit, played for pride and there was a rotated American side. These are the moments that he should enjoy. The interesting thing for me was I always assumed that there was something more about taking this job. The generation, or the next evolution of the American football, the North American period is coming. This sport is going to be big in this country, no two ways about it. And him being in there at a certain stage was part and parcel of a bigger picture, I felt, than just being the US manager, because they had to bend and break rules to get extra money for him. So the fact that the US Federation are suggesting they want to re-sign him, of course they're going to do that. They're going to play to the gallery. They're going to turn around and say, we're doing well in this tournament. The natural decision from them is we want to extend on a European manager that, with due respect to Greg Berhalter, my former player, and Bruce Arena before him, and whoever else, are continued upgrades. But I would be surprised if Pochettino signs on for another set of circumstances with the US, because, you know, I think there will be opportunities for him, and there will be significant opportunities and financial benefits that are far greater than the ones he's getting, unless there's something like the Beckham effect when David came over here and did the LA Galaxy. Everyone thought he was getting paid a fortune for shirts. He wasn't getting paid a fortune for shirts. He was getting the next bloody expansion team, which is better.
Right.
So if there's something in the mix for him like that, that's what I wouldn't be surprised for.
We had a mention there about Manchester United. It's been interesting. Back home, Manchester United chief Omar Barada has been talking. He's been talking about Rumen Amorim, and we will get to that shortly. We're live in New York City on this Saturday morning here, Saturday afternoon with you, back in the UK. Manchester City have agreed a £116 million deal to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fee, as you might have guessed, is the most ever paid for a British player and represents a new record for Manchester City. He's 23, Anderson, and has now been given permission to undertake a medical right here in New York today, with the deal subject to the finalising of personal terms. You would think that will get done quick style. Alex, Elliot Anderson, this is a remarkable rise, isn't it?
Certainly is, when you think that he went from Newcastle to Forest for a relatively modest sum. I know Eddie Howe at the time didn't particularly want to cash in, but obviously they had issues with PSR.
Yep.
It's interesting, the figures. City side are saying 116 million. Forest side are saying actually it's nearer to 130 million. Either way, it's a record, as you say, for a British player, potentially a Premier League record fee, eclipsing what Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak this time last year. I was speaking to a couple of ex-players at the darts last night, and we were pondering, if Elliot Anderson is really a £130 million player, how much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Well, sure. He joined Forest, as Alex says, from Newcastle in a £35 million deal in 2023. So, not so long after that, we've now arrived at 116 million.
Well, brilliant business for Forest. If I'm going to my chairman and I'm going to buy him, let's say, I've got my Manchester City head on, and the figure's up near 130 million, I would be very uncomfortable paying that sort of money for him. I think he's got a lot of potential in front of him. As he stands at the moment, he's a very good player. Top quality, world class, 130 million, I'd be nervous, especially when you see, and it's no relevance whatsoever, but it'd be in the back of my mind, Calvin Phillips come and dropped.
Is he as good as Enzo Fernandez?
I would say probably not, but...
Is he even as good as Declan Rice?
No.
So, another round of World Cup action over here in the US, and we look forward to that. England take on Panama this evening. 10 o'clock your time back in the UK. It's live on talkSPORT. But of course, back in the UK, there is much going on, not least the cricket. It's the third test at Trent Bridge. England, New Zealand, here's Sam.
England chipping away at New Zealand's first innings score of 438. England now 348 for 7, trailing by 90. New Zealand have taken the second new ball, looking to break this 8-wicket partnership. Useful runs for England. It's worth 26. Atkinson's got 22. Archer's got 13. He was dropped though on 13 off Will O'Rourke. A full ball. Archer looking to drive down the ground. Middled it straight to O'Rourke, who dropped got the return chance, and Jofra Archer stays at the crease. For 3.5 days, it's been a really good deck to bat on. We've just maybe over the last sort of 20 or 30 minutes start to see a little bit of variable bounce, a couple of balls keeping low. So this match, as it goes on, will get harder to bat on. Archer's got 13, Atkinson's got 22. England 348 for 7.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. 28 degrees in Nottingham, in that part of the world, back home today. So not quite as hot as it's been, but certainly hot enough. Nice one here today. Not too sunny, not too hot. Just how we like it here in New York. I said right at the start of our coverage here, over in the United States, we'll keep in touch with exactly what goes on at home. And this is another instance of it. Alex, you're across all matters Manchester United, that amongst other things. Manchester United, one of the chiefs at the club right now, Omar Barada, says Ruben Amorim struggled at the club because he, quotes, cornered himself by sticking too rigidly to his ideas. We know what happened to Ruben Amorim. Lasted 14 months in his role at Old Trafford and was replaced recently by Michael Carrick. Amorim has found himself a berth at AC Milan. But speaking at the Financial Times weekend, United Chief Exec Barada has said this. Well, he was a coach that had been very successful in Portugal. He was young, he was dynamic. He had a way of explaining his football knowledge and ideas that were very clear. But then almost crucially, he says, maybe he, Amorim, cornered himself in a position where he wanted to stick in a very rigid manner to his ideas because he wanted to show everybody that it's going to work. So my take from that, Alex, yours no doubt is similar. Barada, his view of Amorim was, come hell or high water, he couldn't be shifted from his position, no matter who was telling him to.
But they should have known that when they hired him. If they'd done their homework properly, if they'd just picked up the phone to their contemporaries at Liverpool, because Amorim was interviewed by Liverpool before they hired Arne Slot. And the reason he didn't get the job, one of the main factors, was they didn't feel like his very rigid system would suit their playing squad. So presumably he would have told Manchester United the same when he was interviewed, and they should have looked at that Manchester United squad and realised, you know what, we haven't really got the players to play a back three. It doesn't work in the Premier League. The only team to win the Premier League playing a back three were Chelsea under Antonio Conte. So I think that's poor. I think that's poor from Barada.
So it does work.
What, once in 30 years?
But it does work then. But it's just having the right players for the right system.
Which United don't have.
They haven't for 10 years, but, you know, this guy's fault. But I love when, like, Barada and the like do these talks because it's never their fault. And, you know, they hired the person. They actually got into so much of an argument to get this person in that someone else got sacked. In the meantime for that, in Ashworth, who lost his job, obviously, because he was against it. Then now we've had a little bit of success with Michael Carrick, and fair play to Michael. But, you know, unlike Alex, who gets very up with it because Man U are back and they're going to win the league in the next couple of years.
I've never said
I know you haven't. I'm winding you up. It is one of those situations where we actually haven't seen Michael Carrick and this Man United team really stress-tested at this moment in time. Let's see. Let's see when it's 3 games a week.
But interestingly, Troy, this is the same Barada who also says, I look back at the process of the appointment, Amorim. I think the rationale for choosing him was sound.
There you go. It's not my fault.
Clearly it wasn't. I mean, he's the worst Manchester United manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, and there have been a few. Comfortably the worst. Win percentage, he finished 15th. Whatever happens under Michael Carrick next season, they're not going to finish 15th.
No, I agree. I agree to that point. My point is more that...
Barada says he raised the standards in the dressing room.
He did that to a certain extent.
I agree. I agree with that. But the same things he tried to get rid of will start to come back because it's the old club again, isn't it? What are they going to do with Marcus Rashford now?
Simon, how admirable is it dying by your principles? Because he wasn't going to be shifted, Amorim.
Well, you know what happens with your principles when you die? They die with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the old adage, was it one of the Marx brothers or was it W.C. Fields that said, I've got a set of principles and if you don't like them, I've got another set. The bottom line is that the most flexible... You've got to have standards and you've got to have beliefs, but you've got to be able to have the resources around you to be able to execute them. And the smarter people, what they do is they finesse and they change and they get it around to where they want it to be over a period of time. I think the writing should have been on the wall when this manager was coming into London photobombing himself in every football club that would even bother to talk to him, including West Ham. So whilst I respected some of the things that he said, Amorim because he was bold. He wasn't having any of Marcus Rashford's nonsense and things of that nature. I think some of the things that he was allowed to say were ridiculous. Now, this forensic evaluation from this George Carman-like, administrator at Manchester United in terms of the benefit of his experience is wonderful. The good people don't need hindsight. Now, one thing I can tell you is that managers are chameleons, and they will tell you what you want to hear in interviews. They will tell you what they will do and how they will do things and how they'll adhere to the structure of the football club and who they will work with and what they like and how they'll play this way and how they'll play that way. And then they get in the door sometimes and they do precisely the polar opposite and do what they want. I've seen it happen. I've had it done to me. So you've got to be able to find your way through it. Berardi was brought in to be the expert in the room. He's a very experienced operator. He was brought in to be the best in class, ironically, at their rivals Manchester City across the town, to give that expertise into the Man United boardroom. Yeah. So he's got to be able to whiff the BS when he hears it. Now, Amorim coming through the door is an ideologue. There's nothing to be... Look, again, I make the point. You've got to have central values and principles. Yeah. But you're a fool if you die on a cross or on a hill about something that's really very difficult to achieve. What Amorim will say is, I was building... This was not a sprint, it was a marathon. And I was built for a marathon. But in the business, whether you like it or you agree with it or not, if the business that you're in means that in the short term you have to be moderately successful to be able to get the long term, then you're a bleeding imbecile if you sacrifice the short term for a long-term position that you're never going to get.
Simon, is it part of any boardroom's remit to try and change the principles of a manager?
No, it's part of a boardroom's remit to make sure that the manager they get is precisely what they want and what they are recruiting for. And so whilst Amorim, I'm sure there are some of the most convincing hucksters in the world have sold people wonderful things. That's why people are called snake oil salesmen like Eddie Hearn, who does it for a living, right? In this instance, this guy's come in and sold them a pup because he wasn't fit for purpose. And the things that he did say, they might have been... I mean, the media loved him. He got a wonderful pass. He even got the Man United fans singing his name whilst they were losing games. Because that was the smoke and mirrors he was able to create, because it wasn't him, it was the Glazers. It wasn't the Glazers, it was someone else. Right? The bottom line was, he was unsuccessful. And here he is now, plying his trade at AC Milan.
So for all three of you, and briefly, we're going to hit the bulletin at the top of the hour, where are the bigger question marks in Manchester going into the next season, Alex? Carrick with United, Maresca at City.
Yeah, clearly Carrick with United for the reasons Troy said, because, you know, the main reason he was so successful last season was because they often had 3 weeks to prepare for a game. They're not going to get that with the Champions League. The squad is lacking depth, and I'm not sure they've got the millions of pounds to spend they need to rebuild it. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for Maresca to replace a legend in Guardiola, but the City setup is there for him. Carrick's got to do a lot of the hard yards himself, because I'm still not convinced by the people above him.
And also, very quickly, with Berardi, they also sold the wingers. Now, what are they buying this year? They've got to buy wingers. So he's not to blame. He's not to blame for what Amorim did on the pitch, but you also gave him every opportunity.
Look at the wingers that they sold. I mean, I would have driven Garnacho anywhere in the world in a cab myself just to have gotten.
No, I totally agree with that. But the point is, you said you were going down this route because you trusted this manager. You've made things happen. Now you're double backing and getting another guy that plays with wingers, so you have to go and get more wingers to come back in.
I just wonder, Simon, about Berardi, when he says things and what the fans might think. On the Glazers, my sense is they're very committed to the club and they're here for the long term.
Well, this is what you get when you want football to run as a business. Football isn't a business. Football is an opportunity for people like me to come in, give his money away and hope that he can hang on for the white knuckles for the next four to come along and buy it off him. Or you've got a business, which is the Glazers, who've turned it into a legitimate business for themselves because they bought it for nothing, cost them nothing to buy it, and they've made loads of money out of it. This is the dynamic. They're committed to what? They're committed to the cause of it being an opportunity for themselves.
Committed to pillaring the club at every possible opportunity.
They're committed to the cause of building of a business. This is a business. This is what a business looks like. You might not like it, and you might not like the optics of it, but that's what you do when you try to treat football as a business. Football is not a business. As much as I advocate for trying to have business disciplines behind it, I've long since realised that it is an opportunity for people to come in, spend as much money as they can because they like the sport, want to be involved in it, want a bit of limelight on them, and then hold on as long as they can until the next bugger comes along and takes it off them.
That comment about the Glazers will go down like a lead balloon with the United fan.
Yeah, I can imagine. We're going into our final hour here today in New York. Stay with us. England in action tonight against Panama. 10 o'clock your time in the UK. It's live on talkSPORT. That is then, and this is now. And now it's 3 o'clock with you in the UK. Here in New York, 10 o'clock in the morning. And we're live on talkSPORT.
Scotland over the 3 games, David. What is your overall assessment and takeaway? I mean, most of us looked at it and felt that Morocco and Brazil would be a reach to get anything from, and that the outcome of the Haitian game would be important and that goals needed to be scored. Criticism is being made of Steve Clarke. I'm not asking you to jump on the bandwagon, but the manner in which Scotland have played, the lack of bravery, the fact that they've been very negative in lots of people's minds, and Steve is a defensive coach. When you hear all those things, what's your assessment of these 3 games and the opportunities that Scotland have either taken or missed?
Yeah. Well, we spoke the other day. I think the biggest word what you're missing here, Simon, is quality. I don't think Scotland have the quality at the moment available to them to compete. I'm not saying that on the odd day that you wouldn't beat one of these teams and get good results, which we did against Denmark, for example, when we get through those games. But I just feel that generally Scotland have been short at that level. We talked about it a few days ago when we were talking about the Haiti game and only winning 1-0. We all felt it was a really good result. Not a really good result, but a good result because we had got 3 points. But you were right in what you were saying. We probably needed to score 3 or 4 goals. But I don't think MD, who's played Haiti yet, or certainly Morocco, have found it that easy. And I don't think they've been as easy a game as what maybe everybody hoped it might have been. So yeah, it might have cost us not scoring 2 or 3 goals in that one game. But I think us getting a victory in the opening game of the World Cup seemed like a good result for us and a good return. But
David, are you saying virtually that?
In 1994, FIFA looked at the United States and said, yes, this is the perfect place for a World Cup. To the average US sports fan, a 0-0 draw sounded less like a sporting event and more like a coding error. The greatest show on earth coming to town would soon change that. Because it was America, they didn't just host the World Cup, they supersized it. The opening ceremony was like a Super Bowl halftime show and saw Diana Ross miss a penalty from 6 yards out, wide of a goal designed to collapse as the ball hit the net. Despite the miss, the goal collapsed anyway. Classic Hollywood. When the matches started, something weird happened. Americans actually showed up. Sure, half the crowd were probably wondering when the quarterbacks were coming on, but the energy was infectious. The cultural mashup was glorious. International fans arrived expecting traditional football fare and found stadiums pumping out star-spangled scoff snacks. For the US, nothing said the beautiful game quite like a processed platter. And the heat. Games were played in blistering midday sun to please European TV audiences. Players were practically melting on the pitch, while fans in the stands were getting sunburns shaped like replica jerseys. Can you imagine the tan lines if England were there? Nightmare. On the pitch, we got pure theatre. Babetto's baby rocking celebration, Maradona's last international hurrah, and ultimately a final that ended in the most American way possible, a dramatic shootout, with Baggio launching his penalty straight into the California stratosphere. To this day, 1994 remains the most attended World Cup in history. The total for the 52 games, 3.5 million. That's an average of 68,000 per game. America didn't just survive the invasion of a foreign sport, it birthed Major League Soccer because of it. Beckham, Messi, they don't go if it wasn't for USA 94. Turns out all it took to hook the States on the world's game was a little bit of 90s magic and a whole lot of nacho cheese.
Hi everyone, Good afternoon to you. Back in the UK, 5 minutes past 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It is 10:05 in the morning here in New York, and we are live in talkSPORT. Live, of course, as you all know by now, on YouTube. But so many of you coming up to us here in the streets of New York and saying you're watching the show as well as listening to it. And that is fine by me. My new best friend, Vinny, the senior NYPD officer, and I had a burger last night just up the road from here. The World Trade Center, and quite a number of people in the restaurant are aware of talkSPORT in a big way, and I'm delighted about that. Vinny, I know you're listening. Hi to you, my friend, and we'll meet again before we head on home. Before all that, England take on Panama tonight, 10 o'clock tonight UK time. It's live on talkSPORT. And of course, the big fight is tonight down at Brooklyn. Simon should be ringside, as only Simon can be, so watch out for him. Xander Zayas up against Boots Ennis, and we look forward to that. I tell you what, Simon, it is a fight that many New Yorkers here are talking about, and everybody seems to be going with Boots.
He's an elite fighter.
Yeah.
It's two world champions, arguably both in their prime, at the peak of their powers, meeting for a major belt. So it's a great fight.
Excellent.
Great fight.
And Big Troy's going with you.
He is
Troy,
indeed.
you're going to be his bodyguard, I believe, in the night.
Well, he's asked me already to bring some security to make sure he can get in and out unbothered. So, yeah, we'll be fine.
So when they all get around and they start hitting him, you'll hit him too?
No.
Maybe not.
I'll take the punch for him first.
There you go.
Let him run.
That's why we love Troy Deeney. On a more serious note, Bastian Schweinsteiger, of course, formerly Manchester United, and a very popular player at Man U, was he not, Alex?
Yeah, and I think he still is, because he regularly posts pictures on social media of him sort of in his United shirt watching the game. So, yeah, a bit of a cult hero at Old Trafford.
He's got himself in a bit of hot water to a degree at these World Cup finals. He was part of ARD's broadcasting team covering Germany's 2-1 win over the Ivory Coast. This was last week, so this has boiled up over a few days. Schweinsteiger on that occasion said that the Ivory Coast played, quotes, African football. And he followed that up with, can be a bit unorthodox sometimes, a bit wild, not quite as tactical. Not quite as tactical as what? Well, the Ivory Coast manager, Emers Faye, took exception to what Schweinsteiger said. And he said, Schweinsteiger was a very good player. I've always loved him. But he said, I was disappointed in the man when I heard his comments. It is odd he would speak that way. We could call it racist if we were calling a spade, which maybe was an unfortunate choice of words as well. In a statement released by ARD on Schweinsteiger's behalf, Schweinsteiger claimed that he was talking about football, not about people. This is a football analysis, no more and no less. There is no way I wanted to offend someone. The Guardian's football journalist, a man who covers a lot of African football and is covering the World Cup finals with us out here in the US, Osasu Obeyiwana, joined us live from California. Osasu, hi to you. What was your take on what Schweinsteiger said? Was it a poor choice of words?
It was certainly a poor choice of words and in pretty bad taste. I don't like to use the word racism or race being racist because I don't want to cheapen these actions. But I would say that he should speak with some more care next time. If you want to talk about the lack of concentration in African sides or their lack of focus when they are supposed to dominate as they should have dominated against Germany, that I can agree with. I can accept that kind of criticism. But the language he used was just not good. And as I said, it was in bad taste.
I mean, Osasu, the Ivory Coast manager has gone as far as to say we could call it racist. Do you call it racist?
Well, he's entitled to his opinion, and I respect the right to his opinion. I would just say that Sebastian should choose his words a bit more carefully next time. If you want to say a side is not playing properly, they are not playing to a level of tactical maturity that they should, say that plainly rather than say, oh, they are playing African football. What does African football mean? What's the definition of that when you use a term like that? It doesn't really make any sense to me.
Simon, what do you make of this row that Schweinsteiger seems to find himself in the middle of?
Well, I mean, look, I don't follow enough African football to see whether there's anything in the observations that he makes that are right or wrong. What I did listen to was Asasu the other day talking about the lack of professionalism and the lack of investment and the lack of structure in African football. So in part, that might find itself visiting itself on the team. To elevate it to racism, there is this use of language that one has to be careful with. But it's like when people were talking about black players back in England, there was this resistance to saying that when a black player came on, he was fast, because it was a categorisation. It was taking away from the idea that they were intellectually able to be a technically creative player rather than just being fast. And then the other side of that, I would ask someone to describe, how would you describe Usain Bolt? You describe Usain Bolt as fast. It's got nothing to do with his colour. So whilst I think it opens up a conversation about whether he's right in his observations, is he right in his observations about the quality of African football in terms of its ability to be able to achieve outcomes? And if he's not right, then he should be observed on the fact that his credibility as a pundit is taken to that level rather than extrapolating every conversation that involves certain people of a certain ethnicity as being racist. That's where I become uncomfortable. That if the allegation is about bad punditry, about bad detail and about bad observations and generalisation, fine. But the moment people start flinging around racism because it's a default setting, everyone recoils, and all of a sudden that person is no longer valid anymore because you're hearing the opinions of a so-called racist.
Yeah. Troy, is that fair? Osasu, I'll come to you in a second. Is that fair? What would you say about this?
Yeah, I thought it was just poor from Schweinsteiger in the language used. I think when he's trying to say tactical or African, they played an African way, I was listening to it a little bit more on the way in, and it's more. So it seemed to me that he didn't have an understanding of. He's basically trying to say you should think the way we play, the way that the Germans did it, the way the teams I did it. It's like. Well, actually, they have a very good tactical base. If you watch Ivory Coast properly, they have a very good tactical base. They are very, very aware of playing down the wings. Now, do they control games and moments better? Could they do that better? Absolutely. But tactically, they are very, very aware.
There is a European way, there is a British way, there's a South American way. So if you turn around and say the British way is... We always say that the British way in the Premier League is know, very physical and very competitive. And no one takes offence at that.
No one takes exception to that. No. What's your take on it, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with the guys. I think he could have been cleverer with the way he worded it, but I don't think he was trying to be racist. And I think the Ivory Coast are quite a good team, to be honest. I've been quite impressed with him at this tournament, so I'm slightly surprised he's been so disparaging.
Osasa, I'll come back to you in a second. So Ivory Coast, according to Schweinsteiger, played African football, a bit unorthodox at times, a bit wild, not quite as tactical. Interestingly, not long after that, some members of the media turned to another German, Jurgen Klopp, for his observations on it. This is Klopp.
Schweinsteiger, you know how he's an ARD expert, so he used words
and
like
now you want to carry on this subject. No, I have no chance. I have no chance. So answer this question. Everybody likes it. So you bring me in a situation. It's not my job that everybody likes it, but this is a serious subject. And I don't even know what is appropriate to say. For African people is one thing, for other people is another thing, and I'm not here. Thank God, I thought nobody asked me about that. You found a moment, and surprisingly, you are German. That surprised me so much. Thank you very much.
No.
Osasu, over in California, were those reporters right to put that to Klopp? Was it relevant to ask him?
I suppose yes, but I can totally understand why Jurgen Klopp didn't want to touch it. Don't forget that he had an incident in the past where he was the subject of being accused of being racist. And it wasn't a funny experience for him. So I'm not surprised that the moment that question was put to him, he decided to go in the other direction. He wanted none of it.
Osasu, thank you for joining us as always. Before you leave us, what about Cape Verde? Over on this side of the US, it's a huge story. No doubt the coverage is pretty blanket over there too.
Well, I told you.
You told us, right?
I told you guys that any team that underrates Cape Verde will do it to their peril. And it has been to Uruguay's peril, and they're out. Okay, they're going to be playing the world champions. That's a dream game for Cape Verde. and no one gives them a chance in hell. But I'll tell you this, a team that has nothing to lose play with an unfettered mind. And an opponent that plays with an unfettered mind can be very dangerous.
Excellent. Osasu Obeyiwana, Guardian football journalist over on the other side of the country this morning, over in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining us. Just gone 3:15 at home, and we are live on talkSPORT.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico Riley. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something in Ghana and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. You know, he can dribble like a midfielder. You know, he's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? Are you excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that you don't really, he scored against us last season and he was great. But the price tag, well, silly money for footballers, you know what I mean? Is any footballer worth that amount of money? But looking at him in this World Cup, he looks the real deal to me. He's got a good engine. You know, he's forward thinking. He knows the league. He gets stuck in. You know, he's perfect for that. I mean, we need a midfield. He's a perfect replacement for Bernardo. Do you know what I mean? Who also had a great engine, didn't mind getting stuck in. But I think it'd be a great signing if we get him.
So let's head from New York City all the way back to the UK and to Nottingham, to be precise. Trent Bridge, the third test, England, New Zealand. Here's Sam.
2 wickets in 2 overs for New Zealand means that England have been bowled out for 354. Gus Atkinson, the ninth to go, for 23. Shorter ball with width from Willow Rock. Atkinson looking to punch the ball through the offside. Outside edge to Daryl Mitchell, who takes the catch. Then in the next over, Zach Folkes gets Josh Tongue for 2, stepping across the stumps, and he just plays the ball straight to mid-wicket. And that is the end of the England innings. Nathan Smith, the pick of the bowlers, with figures of 4 for 91. Ben Duckett top scoring for England with 113 half centuries too for Jacob Bethel and Harry Brook. But England are behind the game. New Zealand's first innings score of 438. England make 354. England trail New Zealand by 84 runs.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. The EFL fixtures were announced this week, and talkSPORT will bring you no fewer than 150 live and exclusive EFL radio commentaries. throughout the season. Looking forward to that. It's a massive season, of course, in the Championship. And what does it bring us? It brings us the return of Millwall against West Ham. I'll get Simon and Troy, Troy and Alex's take on that in 1 second. Alex, I know you're going to be leaving us in a few minutes, so I want to get your take on this. The return, Simon, of Millwall West Ham. What is that for the EFL? Is it a selling point for the EFL, or is it a possible concern?
I think it's a possible headache. I think there are elements of those. I mean, obviously, I've seen the Millwall fan base in their finest, both good and bad. I saw them a long time ago now. I saw them post the playoff final loss, semi-final loss to Birmingham years ago when I went there with Charles Coppell when Charles was the Wimbledon chairman, I was the Palace chairman, and Theo, my friend, was the Millwall chairman. I was supporting Millwall to try and get past Stevie Bruce's Birmingham, who left me. And I saw, don't care what Millwall fans, I saw police horses being set on fire. I saw all that kind of nonsense. And then I saw Theo introduce a membership scheme and try to control the way that the Millwall fans and the people that went into the stadium went into. They still love the moniker, don't they? You know, we're Millwall, everyone hates us, and we don't care. West Ham have got an element of their fan base. It is, the Millwall are not the same club. I've always felt the Millwall are a great club. There's a section of all fan bases that you wish you didn't have. Right? And unfortunately, it was more prevalent with the Millwall fan base because there was a larger number of them. But I think it has the potential for challenge. I'm not sure it elevates anything because, albeit West Ham are a big football club, Millwall are what they are. So I think it has all the makings of some challenges, but it's how they handle it. I mean, I did it once. I decided, from my infinite wisdom, to give Millwall the entire stand, which was 7,000 fans, and then watched them rip the place apart, the stadium to pieces.
Yeah.
You know, and I had the added delectation of, because I knew that as a part of their stock in trade was they used to rip toilets out of the away end. So I took the seat out and put a toilet seat for Theo to sit on, which he banged every time they scored a goal, and they beat us 3-1, so he got to bang the lid for
Oh, you presented him with a toilet?
He sat on a toilet. No, I took his seat out and he sat on a toilet.
All right.
For the game. But he banged the lid every time they scored a goal, which I didn't enjoy. But I think that in all possibility, I think that both fan bases have their own elements, but I don't think it's going to be as bad a potential scenario as people think it could be, but it will have some moments. And they've got to police it and manage it and allocate tickets properly.
Yeah, I actually think the opposite. I think it's a blockbuster game.
Do you?
I think Millwall are a decent, proper, good outfit now. They've always been a solid Championship team, but now, obviously, with last year getting to the playoffs, I think they're going to be expected to go again. I think West Ham are going to be a little bit all over the place to start with, at least. And I just think it makes for a great game. The EFL needs storylines. Again, I cover it. I played in it a lot, covered it a lot. It needs storylines.
The challenge is, you saw when Millwall played Palace.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup.
Yeah, I was at the game. Yeah.
And you know, and that rivalry is a real rivalry, because obviously Palace are a proper club in South London, and the Millwall are a little canker sort of
all right,
oil on the side of it.
And you're saying this from the safety of many thousands
absolutely.
of miles
I'm not being involved anymore. But you will have that same issue. You're going to have it.
No, yeah, I
it will kick off at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Of course, I agree. There's that part, because I think you.
The game itself. Oh yeah, the game.
I'm talking about from the game.
Yeah, but he's not talking about from that point of view. We know it's going to be a game between two sides that are competitive. One that was decent in the Championship last year, and one that's coming down with expectations.
It's a renowned rivalry, Troy.
It's what goes off.
It's what could go off.
You've got a few decent derbies next season.
Yeah.
Pompey Southampton is tasty. For anyone who's not experienced that, West Brom Wolves is tasty, and that kicked off when they met in the FA Cup.
We saw that. Yeah.
There's a few challenges.
West Brom Wolves, no one really cares about that. It's outside of Birmingham. So
Birmingham,
that really makes sense.
Alex, clear this up for us. Elliot Anderson, what are we talking about? 116 million from Nottingham Forest to Manchester City. Previously, he was at Newcastle, and yet you're still telling us, as far as you gather, no sell-on clause for Newcastle.
Yeah, and actually I've just been trying to get a bit more information on that, because I know Simon is a little bit sceptical as to why there wouldn't be a sell-on. Now, this was a deal, I remember it being done. We just arrived in Germany for the start of the European Championships, and there was almost a sort of unofficial second transfer window by which time clubs had to get deals done in order to meet a PSR deadline. So this was a deal that happened very quickly. There was a goalkeeper, Greek guy, wasn't very good, went the other way. It was a sort of deal of convenience. Newcastle paid over the odds for him. Forest paid a huge fee for Elliot Anderson at the time. He hadn't played much Premier League football, if any. They got all that money up front for PSR purposes, and that's why there's no sell-on in the deal.
Yeah, but getting the money up front is irrelevant for PSR purposes, because you bring that's just a cash flow exercise. They don't need the money. The PSR capitalisation of it comes when the transaction happens. It doesn't matter if it's spread over 3 years or not. But the bottom line is there's no parallel universe where I think that there should be a situation. First of all, if you go for top money and you ask for sell-on, the club's going to turn around and say, well, you ain't going to get very much. He's not going to go for very much, so we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine And I'm not disputing your information, because I was talking to a couple of football agents, which afterwards I had a good shower yesterday, about the idea of this transfer going back.
You were talking to a couple of football agents.
Phil Smith, yeah. Right.
All right. Phil, how are you?
Your mate, yeah.
Right.
I'm
glad I was upstairs.
And they were thinking to themselves, how in God's name did this one get away? Because even if you got 10%, even if you turn around, because I know that the buying club would have given you 10%.
So is it standard practice in most deals? Would there be a sell-on clause?
Yeah,
especially with a
young player, all day.
Because you don't know what that player's going to become.
Right, Alex. What we do know is this is the first signing post Pep Guardiola. When do we expect City to say Maresca's our man?
I think it's done. They were just hankering over some compensation with Chelsea. That's been agreed now, in excess of £10 million. So, as far as Maresca is concerned, he is the Manchester City manager. He would have been working on this deal. He's been working on a list of targets. So, it's just a case of official confirmation.
Right.
I think it's been done since he left Chelsea, to be honest. I think he knew exactly where he was going when he left Stamford Bridge.
Absolutely. And they knew exactly what his contractual obligations were. And I think what they've been orchestrating, if I want to work my way backwards through it, is that it was a liability of Maresca's. It was Maresca's liability. So to be able to pay it on his behalf, because he's damn sure he's going to put his hand in his pocket, is tax liabilities and structuring. And Chelsea had no doubt in their mind that they were going to make Man City pay significant amounts of money.
Did you have a similar situation with one of your managers who you put on gardening leave?
Well, Brucey went on gardening leave because of whatever happened to him, and he got taught a lesson. But Ian Dowie was the situation where I had a compensation clause in his contract. He told a pack of lies, got taken to court, and got done for it. So yes, similar but different.
Okay, Ian, hi to you back home, and Enzo Maresca, soon to be appointed, it would seem, as a man to take over from Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. What's going on? You're off out of here for the time being. England, Panama tonight. What do you expect?
I think it'll be a better performance than Ghana, and I think England will win. I'm looking forward to seeing the stadium, not looking forward to getting in and out. After you described it as hideous.
Horrible.
But
Well, I did it the other day, back here in 40 minutes, so clearly they did it wrong.
Shut up, you.
They did it wrong.
But don't forget.
There's so much mutual respect going on here, isn't there?
But don't forget.
You shut up, I want to speak. Go on.
But don't forget, an opponent that has nothing to play for has an unfettered mind.
Well, that was...
So Panama should be dangerous.
3-0 England, there you go.
OK. Unfortunately, Scotland boarding a flight, but there's nothing more to be said than that. England against Panama tonight, 10 o'clock your time, back in the UK, and it's live on talkSPORT. Mr. Crook, we thank you very much indeed for spending time with us once again.
Pleasure.
On the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. Coming up to 3:30 at home, 10:30 with us here in New York.
I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box, because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
He's got to take the skipper off if he does.
So that was John Terry, sitting exactly where Sam is this morning. This clamour for Rashford, you've got a view in that, haven't you?
Well, I just don't remember the last time Rashford started a game for England was particularly impactful. It's always the way, whatever you haven't got is what you cry out for when you don't get the outcomes that you want. The main thrust of England's game was they didn't fizz the ball around. If you move the ball quickly, you move people around. And it was interesting that they put Saka on, which I think makes a lot of difference when he comes on, because he's a clever player, he creates outcomes. And the numbers that he throws out on the field are quite staggering when he's actually on the field. And then he shifted Madueke dug outside so that the coach could be in his ear driving him forward. I think the other thing, I think Rashford comes on as an impact player. If you're playing the last 20 minutes of a game and Rashford comes on with a wild hair up his backside because he hasn't been in the side, he's been replaced by Anthony Gordon at Barcelona and England and wants to play, which is the Rashford that we've got now. Tragically, for a boy of his talent, he's a consequence player. Every time he does something that gets him consequence, he responds to it. He doesn't play well for a season. The England team need him to be available for the next World Cup. He has a good season. He goes away, gets himself into trouble by not turning up for a training session, gets consequence. The next 3 games he plays very well. So I don't think Rashford starting is the answer. I think the midfield, popping the ball around against teams that sit in and defend. And interestingly, I watched the Panamanians. These are not a bad side. They are quite a dynamic side. I thought the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of games against Croatia was quite exciting. And I think Panama will come into this game thinking, well, we're out. So we've got nothing to lose. What's the point of a low block? What's the point of just sitting in? We can have a go at England, and it might suit England. You might find England come out of this game with quite a handy win.
Briefly, the two of you and Rashford. Stuart.
Couple of things. I think out of the 4 players that John mentioned, 4 wide players, I think out of all of them, Rashford's the best impact player. I also think
he'll... Saka?
Yes.
OK.
If I'm looking behind me and I'm saying which one of these 4's got more chance of getting...
So Jeff Hurst is a name that's synonymous with the World Cup, especially in England. That hat-trick at Wembley in 1966, the stuff of legend. But did you know the tables turned 4 years later when a dodgy goal decision cost him and England another shot at glory? After 66, Jeff Hurst is a household name. England's main striker, a goal every other game for his country, and even a spot singing on Top of the Pops. It looked a bit different, didn't it? But the 1970 World Cup wouldn't be a cakewalk. Hurst only scores 1 in 3 in the groups, and England finished second, meaning they get a tougher draw for the knockouts. And who's waiting for them in the quarterfinals? West Germany. It's a physical game, and as you can see, Hurst wasn't given much time on the ball. England go 2 up, but the Germans come back, and we're going to extra time. Gerd Müller scores, and seemingly puts Germany in the last 4. Just moments from time, though, Jeff Hurst has the ball in the back of the net. But the referees decided that when Francis Lee cuts in from the right, despite his cross clearly deflecting off a German boot, Hurst is offside, so he disallows it. After that decision...
Hi from New York, everybody. 3:30 at home on a Saturday afternoon, 10:30 with us here in New York as we look ahead to England taking on Panama tonight. 10 o'clock, remember, for you back in the UK. That's when that one kicks off, and it is live on talkSPORT. We have met so many people in our time over here in New York. Just the other day, I was outside the New York Stock Exchange, just around the corner from where we broadcast from in this particular position in the city. And it's funny who you bump into in this great city. Anyone at home back there, they talk about it over here as well. It was a very successful movie, I Swear. And the lead actor in that, Robert Aramio, won 2 BAFTA awards for his portrayal of a man suffering from Tourette's syndrome. So I'm standing outside the New York Stock Exchange the other day, and who do I bump into? Coincidentally, not Robert, but his dad, Mike, who's a Leeds United fan and a big England fan, over here following England at the World Cup. We spoke about England, we spoke about the price of tickets, but Mike spoke about his huge pride in what his son Robert has managed to do in the acting world with I Swear. This is Mike Aramio with me outside the New York Stock Exchange.
I think for me the main thing is I can't speak for Robert, and I'll be probably saying something wrong and even doing this chat with you, but the Tourette's situation has been highlighted massively, and that's what Robert set out and the whole team set out to do. Make sure that people understand and are very courteous about people with Tourette's and understand them and work with them, and I think that message has been put across massively, and I think the whole UK now is much more educated than we ever was before the movie. So the movie, although on a personal level for me, I couldn't be any prouder of Robert than in winning 2 BAFTAs and doing what he did. He's a phenomenal man, he's a phenomenal son. Me and his mum love him to death. He's a great guy, but primarily I think getting the message across about Tourette's is what he would have wanted, and that's what we've done.
What a success the movie has been, and it absolutely propelled Robert into the limelight. It propelled you into the limelight as well, because your reaction that night when the award was announced, the BAFTA award, you came running in to embrace your boy.
Yeah, well, it was just, I think the moment got the better of me. I think we'd chatted before, if he ever won, I was going to try and keep my counsel, but if that's me keeping my counsel, I think I'm struggling with that one, to be fair, Jim. But the whole family's extremely proud of him. He put Hull on the map, you know,
yeah.
Hull, and it said on the night, Hull beat Hollywood, so we're now known as Hollywood.
Fabulous. Now listen, you're out here following England.
I am.
It's proven to be a costly event for you, is it?
Unbelievable. I'm out here with my mate Stuart Hall. We paid £1,500 to go watch England against Ghana in Boston, and on Saturday we're paying £1,700 to go watch them against Panama. So, been really, really expensive do, but you just can't get the tickets, and it's just ridiculous. There must have been 200 empty seats at the Boston game, and that is...
Yeah, that sticks in your throat, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sticks in your throat. I mean, I'm an avid England fan, but I've not followed them, so I expect to pay a little bit more.
Right.
But the cost of this is just pricing the normal guy out.
And are you going to stay here? As far as England go, are you going to stay until...
I can't afford it,
they're
Jim.
still here? No.
I can't afford it.
Robert could wire you some money, could he not?
No. Leave Robert out of this. Robert needs to work his magic and get me some tickets for the final. Or maybe you, Jim, could get me and Robert tickets for the final.
Tickets for the final. At one stage, I was dreaming of Scotland getting close to that final, but I think we can forget that. The Scottish fans have been good, haven't they?
Oh, I was in the bar last night with the Scottish fans. Me and the Scottish fans, and amazing. Your fans are amazing.
Brilliant.
They laugh, and they were jumping around, celebrating with the Brazilians. It was just fantastic to see.
It's just what we do on the pitch now, and again, it's not so amazing. But anyway, it's one of those things. I wish you well. I'm so pleased for you that you and Robert have had such a whale of a time.
He loves Scotland. He loves the people of Scotland. He loves Scotland.
Brilliant.
And it's his adopted home. There's no doubt about it.
Same age as my brother. When was he 6?
Oh boy, I enjoyed that chat. Lovely man. Mike Aramio, I know you're out there somewhere, and I know you're going to try and get to England, Panama tonight. So good luck with that, and congratulations once again to your double BAFTA award-winning son, Robert Aramio, for that amazing portrayal in the film I Swear, fellow with Tourette's. It really was compulsive viewing. Here's the thing. Mike is going to try and get to England, Panama tonight. I'm pretty darn sure that this gentleman who's joined Troy, myself and Simon in studio here in New York is going to get to the MetLife as well. Because so far, he has been to Guadalajara, Monterrey, Dallas, LA, Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston, New York to watch England, Panama. He hopes. I'm sure he'll do it. England superfan Sharjeel Ahmed joins us live in the show. Sharjeel, how are you?
I'm really well. I'm having the best time of my life. So, yeah, it's the best 3 weeks ever.
It sounds like it. Did you start in Guadalajara to watch Chechnya, South Korea?
Yeah. So I basically wanted to come to the World Cup and use it as an opportunity to see Mexico, Canada and the United States, and not really explored a lot of the United States other than New York. And so, yeah, I plotted a path that started off in Mexico and then took me through all of those other places. But, yeah, started off with Czechia v South Korea, and it was a fantastic game.
Is this a bucket list situation? You've always wanted to do it?
Oh, absolutely. So it started maybe 4 years ago. I went to Qatar for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I went there for just a week, watched 2 matches a day, 6 days, had the best time. And I was like, you know what? I loved this so much. But when I found, now that it's going to be in the US, I thought, let's do this properly. Let's do the whole 7 weeks. Let's plan it properly, and let's explore and watch football at the same time.
And are you planning to stay right to the very end?
Yeah, I've got tickets all the way through to the end. So 2 years of planning. I've got tickets to the final, both semi-finals, 2 quarters, a round of 32, a round of 16, and I've been to about 8 matches so far. So yeah,
Oh.
I'm living the dream.
I was just thinking he could have sold all them. How much money he could make?
Yeah.
But not. let's say.
How do you manage it? You get friends in high places? What's going on?
So I religiously was on the FIFA website. So the first thing I did was I booked my tickets when I didn't know what the matches were. So I plotted a path first, and so that was a lot easier. So you'd often see tickets at reasonable prices, $300. And so that was sort of my limit. So I bought about 6 or 7 matches like that. Then when the draw was made, I tweaked my schedule to sort of follow England. And then after that, it's just been a case of, waiting on the FIFA website until somebody loses their nerve and drops their price.
Are you on your own, or you got a couple of you doing it? How many of us?
So it's me on my own. I'm Billy No Mates for the most of it. But my son, he's 18. He just finished his A-levels. He's flown to Miami. He didn't want to come traipsing around the country. So he's been in Miami. So he watched Scotland, Brazil. He's watching Colombia versus Uzbekistan.
Great game.
He loved it. And we're watching Argentina versus Cape Verde next week as well.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's brilliant.
My God. So you've awarded yourself, clearly, a golden toilet chain. And actually, you've got the World Cup at the bottom of it, Sergio. It's something. Where do you acquire that?
So it's FIFA-approved bling bling. You buy them in the stadiums, and so they let you in with no problem. And I don't know, it was just my effort to try and blend in.
Yes. I like the stuff. You'd be happy with that, right? More merchandise being sold?
Lovely, absolutely.
You've got to admire that commitment, have you not, Simon?
Yeah. What's your profession?
I'm a tax director.
Oh, no, up until that point,
yeah, that's it, gone.
All of this are write-ups.
All of this is tax deductible, yeah.
All write-offs. All write-offs.
When you look at the list as to the places you've been to, Sergio, what's been the standout so far?
SoFi Stadium in LA is
amazing.
Absolutely astonishing. I've not seen anything like it. Also, the Arlington Stadium that had the England-Croatia game air-conditioned inside, but it's absolutely huge. So some of the stadium are off the charts here.
Have you found the travel to and from games? Because we've got a bit of a problem here. These guys decided to walk. I went on Saturday, was back in 45 minutes on the train. Have you found the travel to the MetLife?
So I haven't been to MetLife today, and today will be my first visit, and then I'll be there for the final. But around the rest of the country, I've had no problem with Ubers. It's been fine, with the exception of Boston. Boston was an absolute nightmare. So I booked a train, $80. I turned up to the train, and it had left because I didn't realise that there was a set time. I then had to get an Uber at £100, and I was stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. And
you didn't realise there was a set time for a train?
I know, I'm a bit dim like that sometimes.
Okay.
So I just, for some reason, I just assumed I'd turn up 2 hours.
Turn up and the train would just wait for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, Sergio, you maybe heard the actor.
Not judging, but I'm just saying.
The actor before us there, the actor Robert Aramu's dad, Mike Aramu, who's an ordinary Joe. He's over here spending his own money. But the 2 games he has seen have been the 2 England games up until now. And he paid 4 figures for tickets for each game. I mean, many are saying, look, whatever way you look at it, this World Cup's a rip-off as far as the fans are concerned. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of expensive stuff. If I give you an example, in SoFi Stadium, I paid $37 for a packet of nachos, a Diet Coke and a packet of M&Ms. That's astonishing, I think.
$37 for that.
Yeah, so everywhere you go in the stadiums, there is a lot. And in one of the stadiums, I had to, they didn't let me take my little bag in, so I had to go and check it in. That was another $40. So everywhere, there's lots of opportunities. If you're not on it, there are a lot of ways in which you can spend a lot of money unnecessarily.
On the weekend, when I went to the Ecuador-Germany game, tapped $20 for some candy, as they called it, paid the 20. They gave me the candy. A woman come over and said they're not sponsored and took the candy off me. There's 20 quid down the drain.
She took the candy off you?
Yeah, because it's not.
She was brave.
It's not sponsored, so
really?
they wasn't supposed to sell it.
Well, you could do with a little bit less candy, Troy.
Now what's going to happen?
The unsponsored variety.
It's like taking candy from Medini.
Oh, I like.
Okay.
It's like taking.
We've known each other 5 minutes. You can relax.
You say you're going to be here, and you're going to get tickets all the way up to the final, Sergio.
Yeah.
Will England be in that final?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be England versus the United States. And
covering all your bases? Who's corn, who's UK?
And I think it's going to be England are going to win it from a corner, a Declan Rice corner, a Saka header. There.
My God.
Saka header?
Yeah.
You're either an England super fan or you're
instance.
Mystic Meg. That's amazing. All right. Sergio, well done. That is quite a journey. all in the pursuit of seeing a World Cup through from start to finish. That's what it's all been about.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just to, I've got a good feeling about England, and I think we'll do it. And so I wanted to be there for when we do it.
How are you going to feel wearing that shirt if England aren't in the final?
I haven't thought that far yet, but yeah.
So wait, you thought to the end and how the game's going to go.
Yeah.
But you haven't thought about what if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I might wear a different shirt then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd be careful going through the metal detector machine at New York Airport as you leave. Sharjeel Ahmed, well done. Right. Well done. For all your efforts, and thanks for coming up to join us here on the 50th floor. We're in the home straight now, and we're live in talkSPORT from New York City.
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
he's a better striker, number 9.
Do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. Like, I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's scored 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched, so you would have watched him, R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9, for me, that's my hero. He is... That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him, and Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent, yeah? And Ronaldo, it's all about numbers and goal scoring, and he's obsessed with that, and that makes him so good. But R9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
As a footballer,
so
much
both
more
agree with
natural.
me on that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer.
Yeah.
Now, you can't compare the numbers because Ronaldo's numbers are crazy.
You know what I mean? Like a better player.
He's a better player. Yeah. He's a better player. He's the things that he used to do, picking up the ball and dribbling, the goals that he scored for Barcelona.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Okay, before we leave you today, time to catch up on the odds. Thanks to Sky Bet. We're joined by Michael Shinners from Sky Bet. We're going to look at the football today and the odds around and about those games. Michael, hi to you, mate. England, Panama. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, England, strong favourites, as you would imagine, Jim. 1-9 with ourselves, 15-1 Panama, and then it's 17-2 the draw. Sky Bet, we're running a completely free bet to be used on any market on the England-Panama game today. So one per customer, and that expires at midnight this evening.
Midnight this evening, OK. What are we talking about? A super boost today as well, Michael?
Yeah, a super boost, Jim. Panama yet to score, so England to win 2-0 now, 6-4 was 8-11. So I think you would expect England probably to keep a clean sheet with Panama struggling to score.
OK, everyone's talking about them. Cape Verde, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. They were 4-1 to qualify, so they've, absolutely tremendous, and to qualify without actually winning as well. But yeah, they qualified, and fair play to them. And then obviously later on this evening we've got Portugal, Ronaldo, to score against Colombia. We wait to see him sort of playing 11-10 to score. Jim, 28-1 if you fancy the hat trick.
Michael, so much for Portugal. Thank you very much indeed. Michael, that was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
No, they shouldn't play.
Can you believe it? It is 16 years on from this World Cup moment. Have a listen.
Germany 2, England 1. Milner 4 for Defoe. Great turn, Defoe, edge of the penalty area. Lampard! Yes! It's in! Yes! It's 2-2! Oh, he hasn't given it! He hasn't given it! He hasn't given it! Unbelievable! That clearly went over the line. Shades of 66 all over again. It's an exact carbon copy, and it hasn't been given. Ozil, left-hand side, flashed towards goal by Podolski, and that has definitely gone in. Lampard with a shot, which is flicked off the underside of the bar. We're looking at a replay now. Oh, it's miles over the line. It is miles over the line.
Goal not given. On a serious note, Troy, Simon, was that the trigger point, do you think, that kick-started football's technology revolution?
I think it had to be. Especially when you got the still image of it as well. It was a good foot over the line, and yeah, I remember being very angry at that moment in time. But it was a hell of a strike from Frank as well, to be fair. But yeah, thanks to that, we end up with VAR controversy every single week now. So we shouldn't blame anyone other than Frank Lampard.
Well, on that now, I mean, I hear what Troy says, but surely we would argue the game is in a far better position now, 16 years on.
Well, there were two kinds of technology, isn't there? There's goal line technology and then there's VAR. And there was no argument and no controversy about goal line technology. The evolution of VAR and the introduction of digital assistance to help referees is a byproduct of the way that the game is scrutinised, analysed, categorised, vilified. Referees are not supported, and they needed a support mechanism to be able to combat the nature of the game. So I remember writing an article in 2005 in The Guardian about Sepp Blatter and the village idiots that wouldn't embrace technology, and using refereeing examples specifically of a particular referee in a game that Palace played against Reading, and I got sanctioned by the FA for it. And
this was in The Guardian?
Yeah, I told him I'd deliver the fine.
For you.
Deliver the fine in £1 coins. Yeah, I know. Absolutely, yeah. Writing for that paper. But anyway, we can't... The first and second iterations of VAR, the way that it's been introduced into the game has always been flawed, because it's never been introduced as the panacea to all ails. It was never brought in to remove subjectivity. It was never brought in to get 100%. But these so-called people, like the Linekers of the world, that sat there vilifying referees, calling out every single decision, demanding for an evolution in football and better decision-making, are the same people now that are judging VAR. We know where VAR fails. It fails in the idea that it kills the joy, it kills the spontaneity.
Right.
And it needs, in its second, third or fourth iteration, it needs to be more AI-based in terms of it's almost seamless. And I always felt my view on the VAR was something the referee should call for. I don't think it's something that the referee should be called by. And I think the referees should call for it, and if they don't call for it, like an advanced driving test for a police officer, they can drive at high speed, and referees can referee at high speed, and they get a facility to be able to call for it. I need VAR. And if they don't call for it, then they get reviewed by the panel which says, why aren't you using the support mechanisms?
Right.
Somehow we've got it asked about face. But the idea that technology in the world's biggest game, in every other sport, irrespective of whether there's spontaneity or natural breaks, in cricket, tennis, rugby, and you name it, they can use technology. Football, because of the way that people comment on it, the way people expect it to behave, has never really embraced it. But that decision from Frank Lampard the goal line technology is not controversial.
No, it's been great.
It's
right.
a matter of fact.
I mean, maybe the fact of the matter is, Troy, that here it's being used so much less than it is in the domestic game back home. Ian Lademan in the Mail, good lad Ian, he's saying the World Cup has worked out how to use VAR technology properly. He says after the first 40 games, there had only been 13 VAR interventions, an average of 0.33 per game, out of such an uncluttered landscape in the Premier League. He's right.
Absolutely. But also the big part about it is the refs are actually been given the licence to ref it. Again, I was at the Ecuador-Germany game and the female ref there was brilliant. 50-50s, letting it go, playing on, no problem. And yeah, VAR's been good. Also, the offside has been so much quicker and you can see it as well. So hopefully, like always, the Premier League get it right. But what it also comes down to is we get nervous, don't they? They get nervous of all the scrutiny.
Yeah, but we also saw in the original World Cups when VAR was introduced in the first instance how it was deployed. The problem is that each federation takes it and puts their own particular brand across it. The Premier League were very late to adopt it. But there also isn't... We don't see stories written about which VAR official supports which team and those sort of things coming into play. So there's a whole raft of nuance and backstories around VAR, why it isn't seeded in domestic football.
Sure. Troy, England, Panama, what we're going to see, briefly, give me a scoreline.
I'll go 3-0 England. I don't think Panama are that good. I think if they come out and play like they did against Croatia, we should be able to pick them off. All right. So I'm hoping that this is the game that gets everyone back excited.
Simon, ringside tonight, down at Brooklyn, Xander Zayas, Boots Ennis. What do we see?
Oh, Jaron Ennis. Absolutely.
How? Knockout?
Knockout.
There we go.
Yeah, and you two are going to be sitting side by side and you're his bodyguard.
Yep. Well, I ain't got my ticket yet, so, you know.
OK. All right. When it gets rough, I'll be watching your level of commitment to him, Troy. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks to everybody here in studio. Saturday or no Saturday, really enjoyed being on air today. Where are we now? Coming up to 4 o'clock back home, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We remember them. They follow us from 4 till 8 back home, taking all your calls as they build up to England's final group stage game against Panama. Enjoy the rest of your day back over in a sweltering UK. We'll do the same over here in New York. And we'll be back on air at 1 o'clock UK time on Monday. Thanks for listening.
Listen, I love him. And people have asked me, would I take him at Arsenal? 100%. But you look at the last 2 seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last 2 seasons for PSG, the 2 Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out. They win back-to-back. It just doesn't look well on Mbappe, does it?
You could say that he's responsible for that. But in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other, they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they've met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think